fake heir wanted me to know he was the five sisters' favorite. So on my first day back with the Whitmores, he had them lock me outside the gate. No matter how I knocked, they would not open. I did not back down. I grabbed an axe and smashed it into the gate. The Whitmores watching the cameras froze at my wild move. Fearless, I slung the axe over my shoulder and walked in. Ryan Whitmore hid in the back, terrified. The five sisters instantly shielded him. They stared at me on guard, their words cruel and vicious. Ethan Hayes, that gate cost 800 grand. Can a country bumpkin like you pay for it? The first to speak was Ryan's oldest sister, Victoria Whitmore. 18 years and you still did not die out there? Why come back? Madison Whitmore, the third sister, cut in with pure disgust. Look at you. Standing next to you is embarrassing. Ava Whitmore, the fifth sister, folded her arms in contempt. If you know what's good for you, hide in the room we gave you. Never come out and embarrass us. My eyes locked on Victoria. In my past life, she took the knife Ryan handed her and killed me herself. My stare scared Victoria so badly she stepped back on instinct. I looked at the maid beside me. Mrs. Miller, take me to my room. Mrs. Miller did not move. She just looked at me with disgust. What right does some country boy have to order me around? I smiled. This witch bullied me plenty in my past life. So I would start with her today. I walked over slowly. I grabbed Mrs. Miller by her tied-up hair and yanked hard. She crashed to the floor and screamed in pain. I dragged her along and said as I passed the Whitmore siblings, I'm going up to pick my room. I want the biggest one. Their faces changed at once. Ava snapped from the doorway. The biggest room is Ryan's. Who do you think you are? You think you can take the biggest room? I did not stop. I ignored Ava completely. I dragged Mrs. Miller up the stairs without mercy. I let her slam around on purpose until her back burned. Mrs. Miller finally begged. Sir, let me go. I will take you to your room. I will take you there. Soon, I reached the second floor and headed right. Ryan's five sisters could not sit still. They all rushed up after me. Then they saw me standing at their precious brother's door. I raised that terrifying fire axe. Ethan Hayes, don't you dare. Victoria snapped. But her voice carried a faint tremor. Ethan Hayes, if you swing that axe, get out of the Whitmore house. Dragging a pale Mrs. Miller, I stepped over the fallen door and went in. Behind me, Ryan's fists clenched tight. The hatred in his eyes was almost impossible to hide. This is my room now. I let go of Mrs. Miller. Then I tossed her aside like trash. Ryan took a deep breath, forcing down his rage and panic. He tugged Victoria's sleeve and whispered, Victoria, let it go. Ethan suffered so much out there. He is the real Whitmore heir. All this was his to begin with. I grew up with you, but I am not Whitmore blood. As long as I can stay here with you all, I am happy. If Ethan likes this room, let him have it. That fake sweet, self-sacrificing act instantly lit up the sisters' anger and pity. Ryan, don't worry. Victoria shielded him and said firmly, I will not let him take your room. He only deserves the storage room. Madison said that and rushed in to attack. I will throw him out of your room right now. The Whitmore sisters came in and saw me staring back with a taunting grin. My shoes left muddy prints across the white imported cashmere rug. Ryan spoke at just the right time, hurt and cautious. Ethan, this rug. Madison brought it back from overseas for me. It's limited edition. He trailed off. He did not need to finish. Those vicious sisters blew up. Ethan Hayes, I have never seen anyone with less class. Madison pointed at my face and yelled, This is Ryan's room. Are you leaving? Or do we have to make you? This scene had played out countless times in my past life. I was used to it. I almost wanted to laugh. I spread my hands and sneered, I am taking this room. Try me. That open dare set the sisters off completely. Victoria's eyes went cold. She stepped forward to throw me out herself. Ryan quickly grabbed her hand and said, Full of hurt. Victoria, let it go. This room was always Ethan's. He is the Whitmore heir. Please do not blame him. I am the one who should move out. Then he took 2 steps toward me and said gently, Ethan, don't be mad. They are just worried about me. I had heard too much of this fake sweet crap in my past life. It made me sick. Now I did not want to hear another word. I lunged forward and slapped Ryan hard across his fake innocent face. Ryan held his swelling cheek and stared at me in disbelief. The tears came instantly, rolling down in big drops. He looked like he had suffered the worst wrong in the world. Ryan. Several worried voices cried at once. All 5 sisters rushed over, glaring at me in fury, as if I had committed some unforgivable crime. Victoria lost control first. She raised her manicured hand and swung at my face. Her sharp nails cut through the air. My eyes hardened. I raised my arm like an iron clamp and knocked her wrist aside. With my other hand, I backhanded her cold, pretty face without mercy. My feet did not stay idle either. I pivoted and kicked her hard in the side, right through her designer suit. Victoria cried out in pain and staggered backward. She crashed into Olivia Whitmore, the second sister. They both hit the floor in a heap. The rest of the Whitmores froze, too stunned to react. Ryan looked up and glared at me, his voice full of pain. "Ethan, how could you hit Victoria and Olivia? If you're angry, take it out on me." I was sick of his whining. I rushed up and grabbed Ryan by the throat. I lifted him off the floor and slapped him with my free hand. Smack, smack. 2 more brutal slaps. A long-lost thrill surged through me. Ryan was terrified, struggling in vain like a chicken by the neck. "Ryan, let him go." Several shrill voices screamed. The remaining sisters attacked me at once. Madison even grabbed a decorative crystal vase nearby and smashed it hard at my head. I stepped back, let go, and pulled Ryan in front of me. When Madison saw it was her precious brother, it was too late to stop. Bang! The crystal vase slammed right into Ryan's head. Ah! A sharp scream rang out. I let go and stepped back. Ryan clutched his head as blood seeped through his fingers. My smile was ice cold. "Wow, cracked your head open." "Beautiful," I said lightly. Ryan held his head, felt warm blood flowing, and panicked. "Blood? Blood. Victoria, there's blood. Is my face ruined?" Victoria was shaken too. Ignoring her own pain, she scrambled up. Ryan, your sister didn't mean it. Get the first aid kit," Olivia shouted. As a doctor, she stayed calm and rushed to Ryan. She checked his wound and tried to calm him down. "Ryan, don't be scared. Olivia's here. It's just a surface cut." The kit came fast. Olivia carefully cleaned and bandaged Ryan's wound. In the lull, Victoria looked up at me. Her rage was plain. Through gritted teeth, she said, "Ethan Hayes, Ryan got hurt the moment you came back. How are you this vicious? If you know what's good for you, get out of the Whitmore house." I burst out laughing, full of mockery. "Victoria, did I hurt Ryan? Wasn't it your dear Madison who hit him with the vase?" Everyone saw it. Then I covered my mouth and laughed. The move was over the top, but the joy was real. Wow, dogs biting dogs. No, sisters tearing each other up. What a show. Victoria's face instantly looked like she'd eaten shit. She choked, unable to say a word. Ava stormed over from the side. Her face twisted with rage. "How is it not your fault? If you hadn't dodged, Ryan never would have been hit. You hurt Ryan. You're a walking curse. Listen to that brain-dead logic. Same as my past life." I raised my hand like I would slap her. Ava had learned her lesson and ducked on instinct. "I thought you idiots were too dumb to dodge a hit. Turns out you do know to move." I grabbed her collar and yanked her close. My voice dropped, but she heard every word. "Ava, that move just now was only to see if you'd dodge a hit. If I really wanted to hit you, do you think you could dodge?" Before she could react, I slapped her twice, left and right, crisp and loud. "Ethan Hayes, what are you doing now?" A familiar voice came from the door. I looked up. "Good, you're all back." My nominal father, Richard Whitmore, and my stepmother, Helen Whitmore, who had always hated me, stood at the door, livid, watching it all. The whole family was finally here. My game could officially begin. Helen saw me hit her daughter with her own eyes. Her fury shot up, impossible to hold back. Then she saw Ryan beside us, his face covered in blood. She burned even hotter and strode in. She snapped in rage. "Let go of my daughter." Seeing their shocked, furious faces, I released Ava. I bent down and pulled a wet wipe from the side. Then I slowly wiped my fingers, as if I just touched something filthy. Seeing her daughter's face swollen beyond recognition, Helen was heartbroken. She glared at me and spat viciously. "If I'd known you were this evil, I should have strangled you at birth. She's your sister. How could you hit her? If you still want a place in this family, behave. When we tell you to stand, you stand. When we tell you to kneel, you kneel." I raised a brow and said, not caring, "If Mrs. Whitmore hates me that much, I'll leave. I don't really want this family either." Ryan was thrilled. He hoped I'd never show up again. The Whitmores only needed one heir, him. Helen was about to tell me to get lost, but Richard tugged at her. "Ethan Hayes, don't say things like that again. You are our son. Your mother only spoke harshly because she was worried about you. Don't take it to heart." I stayed silent and said nothing more. After all, I wasn't really trying to leave the Whitmore house. This was my battlefield. I wouldn't leave before making the Whitmores pay. Besides, it proved they really cared about the family behind me. Helen said, "Once you're in the Whitmore house, you follow our rules. Everything you say and do represents the Whitmores. That kind of rude behavior is not fit for the Whitmore heir. It makes us look bad. We'll tell people you're our adopted son. Ryan will remain the Whitmore heir. I raised a brow and looked at the silent Richard. My father in name and the real head of the Whitmores. Mr. Whitmore. I changed how I addressed him, my tone distant. Do you also think this is all my fault? Richard's face darkened. His eyes swept over me, Ryan, and his daughters, then settled on my face. There was scrutiny and a faint trace of calculation. Before he could speak, Helen jumped in and cursed. If we'd known you were such a bastard, we never should have brought you back. You're a curse. You came back and ruined this house. Enough. Richard finally spoke, cutting off Helen's rant. He took a deep breath and looked at me, trying to soften his tone, but he still sounded condescending. Ethan Hayes, didn't the butler who brought you back explain? You are my biological son, but Ryan has lived with us for years. In our hearts, he's long been family. I hope you two can get along. He paused, his tone turning sharp. Now that you're back, follow Whitmore rules. What you did just now was out of line. Apologize to your mother, your sisters, and Ryan. I snorted like I'd heard the world's biggest joke. Mr. Whitmore, are you missing something? I stepped forward and stared him down. Since I walked into this house, your wife, your daughters, and that fake in my place, have they shown me even a shred of respect? Locking me outside is a rule? Making me sleep in storage is a rule? Telling me to get out again and again is a rule? Smashing a vase at my head, that's your Whitmore rule? My voice grew colder and louder with every line. If those are your rules, sorry. Ethan Hayes, reject them. I threw the wet wipe in my hand to the floor. My eyes swept over everyone there, then finally stopped on Richard. If the Whitmores don't want me, fine. I'll pass on this family. I'll leave. With that, I turned as if to go. Ryan was thrilled, wishing I'd vanish right away. Helen nearly blurted out, get lost. Stop. Richard barked. His face shifted again and again. He didn't care if his cheap son lived or died, but he cared about the Sterling family behind me. They were the Whitmore's chance to rise, even their only way into the capital's elite. He could not let me leave. Ethan Hayes, no more angry talk like that. You are my son. This is your home. Richard's tone allowed no argument. Your mother and sisters were just worried about Ryan, so they spoke harshly. Don't take it to heart. I stopped without turning back, but I didn't keep leaving. Of course I wouldn't really leave. This was my battlefield. Before these so-called family members paid what they owed, how could I leave? Richard's hunger for the Sterling family was my best shield. Seeing I wasn't leaving, Richard let out a breath. Then he looked at Helen and the girls, warning in his voice. I'll say it again. Ethan Hayes is my biological son. He is your own brother. If anyone locks him outside again, or tells him to get out, don't blame me for turning ruthless. Dad, Victoria cried, holding her still aching face. Shut up. Richard shot her a glare. Look at you all yelling like this, fighting and cursing at home. What if this gets out? Finally, he looked at me, his tone softer. Ethan Hayes, your room will be handled your way. Ryan moved to the guest room next door. Dad? Ryan stared at Richard in disbelief. Tears rushed up, and he looked ready to collapse. The sisters all spoke up against it. Dad, Ryan's picky about beds. You can't do this. Ryan has lived in that room for over 10 years. Richard rubbed his brow and made the call. Enough. It's settled. Ethan just came back. He's not used to many things. As his sisters, give him some leeway. Ryan, be sensible. Ryan lowered his head, hiding the hatred in his eyes. His nails dug deep into his palms. His voice was choked yet obedient. Yes, Dad. I understand. If Ethan likes it, he can have it. I sneered inside, but my face stayed calm. I'd gotten what I came for today. The room was mine. I'd made my point. No need to push harder. I looked at Richard and moved on to my next demand. Mr. Whitmore, I'm taking Ryan's room now. So shouldn't everything in it return to its rightful owner? The furniture is old, and the clothes are outdated. They don't suit the Whitmore heir, do they? If word gets out, the Whitmores lose face. Richard only wanted to placate me. He waved his hand. Your mother will take you shopping tomorrow. Replace everything. He is Richard Whitmore's son. Of course he gets the best. Helen's heart ached over the money. The furniture in that room was all high-end imports. Cost a fortune, yet he replaced it just like that. But under Richard's no-argument stare, she could only swallow her complaints. I won this round completely. That night, I lay on the bed that used to be Ryan's. It was huge and soft. I could almost still smell that disgusting scent. His scent. No matter. Soon, this place would be my turf. Tomorrow, a new game awaits you all. After a dreamless night, I came downstairs refreshed. The dining room looked peaceful. Richard sat at the head, reading the paper. Helen gently placed a shrimp dumpling in Ryan's bowl. The sisters chatted and laughed around the table. Ryan wore a faint, perfectly measured smile, as if yesterday never happened. When they saw me, the laughter stopped cold. The mood froze at once. Ryan set down his chopsticks. A bright smile instantly spread across his face. "Good morning, Ethan. Come have breakfast." Then he turned toward the kitchen and called, "Mrs. Miller, add one more place setting. Ethan's here for breakfast." As thoughtful as ever, as fake as ever. I glanced at the table. Sure enough, no seat for me. In my past life, I would have stood there awkwardly, waiting for a maid to add a seat. Like a beggar who'd wandered into someone else's banquet, awkward and small. Then, as I sat, one sister would secretly pull my chair away. I crashed to the floor and become the joke. I walked straight over. Under everyone's stunned stares, I grabbed Ryan by the collar. Then I yanked him out of his seat. "Ah!" Caught off guard, Ryan screamed. "Ethan Hayes, what are you doing? Let Ryan go." The sisters instantly lost it and all stood up. I ignored them and shoved Ryan back. Not hard, but enough to make him stumble and nearly fall. Then I calmly sat in his seat. I picked up the utensils he'd used. Frowning in disgust, I tossed them aside. Seats are limited. The extra person should know to stand. I picked up clean chopsticks and said evenly, like I was stating the simplest fact. I looked at Richard's livid face and smiled. "Mr. Whitmore, am I right? In this family, who's extra?" I bit out the last few words. My eyes flicked meaningfully toward Ryan's pale face. "The extra one is the fake heir, of course." Ryan clenched his fists, trembling. Humiliation and hatred nearly swallowed him. Before Richard could speak, the sisters exploded. "Ethan Hayes, why do you always have to go after Ryan?" Victoria was so angry her face went white. "Dad, look, this is who you brought back. He isn't grateful at all. He's only bullying Ryan even worse." Richard slapped the newspaper hard on the table. "I'll say it again. Ethan Hayes is my son, your own brother." He looked at Ryan, the boy he'd spoiled since childhood. That hurt, helpless look made him feel bad. But the moment he thought of the Sterling family, that pity was crushed by greed. He glared at Helen. "What kind of mother are you? You can't even set a place? The staff are careless, and you don't even notice?" Helen felt horribly wronged. It was just a seat. Was this really necessary? But seeing Richard's dark face, she didn't dare argue. Richard then looked at furious Victoria. "Victoria, you're the oldest. Act like it. Ethan Hayes is your brother. Watch what you say from now on." Once Richard blew up, the dining room fell silent. Ryan stood there. A chill shot from his feet to his head and spread through him. Richard siding with me chilled him to the bone. The phrase "your own brother" stabbed his heart like a knife. So in the end, it was because he wasn't blood? 18 years of love were that fragile? He couldn't hold it in and ran upstairs crying. "Stop," I called. The show had just started. How could the star leave? I looked at Richard, letting a hint of hope show. "Dad, now that I'm back with the Whitmores, shouldn't we hold a welcome home banquet? To tell everyone your biological son is back." I stressed the words biological son. To get what I wanted, I didn't mind calling him Dad for now. That one line changed everyone's face again. Almost all eyes instinctively landed on Ryan. Ryan pressed his lips tight. Hatred in his heart spread like poison ivy. But he couldn't lash out. He had to endure it. He fought to control his face. Then he looked up with a pale, fragile smile. "Dad, Mom, Ethan's right. Since Ethan's back, of course we should hold a banquet. So he can feel how much this family values him." I tilted my head toward him, openly taunting. "And tell everyone Ryan is the adopted son." The challenge in my eyes was too clear. Ryan almost lost control. His mouth twitched, his eyes reddened, and he whispered, "Ethan, it seems you don't like me much. If you're still mad about yesterday, I'm sorry." Smart. He changed the subject and dodged the adoption issue. All he had to do was look heartbroken, and his sisters would charge in for him. Sure enough, Victoria jumped in first. "Ethan Hayes, do you have to push this hard?" Victoria glared at me. "Can you think about Ryan's feelings for once? Blood doesn't matter to us. He'll always be my brother." I didn't spare her and sneered. "Why should I care how he feels? Because of me, he enjoyed 18 years of luxury. Shouldn't he be thanking me? And you, Victoria, can you stop caring only about Ryan's feelings? Dad said I'm your own brother. Two can play that game." I looked at Richard. His face had darkened. "If I can't return as the Whitmore heir, then there's no point claiming this family." My stance was firm. Not asking you to send Ryan away is my biggest concession. After all, how could I keep playing if he left? Everyone looked at Richard. "Dad, this would hurt Ryan too much. Dad, we can tell people both are your sons. Say Mom had twins back then." I stood up, my displeasure plain. Blood is blood. Adopted is adopted. Don't mix them up. Twins? Is he worthy? Thinking of the Sterling family, Richard gave in again. Ethan Hayes is the rightful Whitmore heir. The welcome home banquet will go on as planned. We'll announce Ethan's identity and Ryan's status as adopted. Richard's voice left no room for argument. I looked at Ryan with open provocation. This time, Ryan finally broke and ran upstairs crying. The sisters immediately tried to follow. Sit down, all of you. Eat. Richard slammed the table and snapped. Worried and upset, the sisters could only sit back down. They looked like they wanted to eat me alive. From start to finish, a faint smile stayed on my face. My eyes were full of mockery. Richard knew exactly what was going on. In my past life, I craved family and felt inferior. So I kept swallowing it and never fought for myself. Since I stayed silent, Richard turned a blind eye. So I suffered every pain and humiliation. I didn't care about being the Whitmore heir. But Ryan did, so I wouldn't let him have it. Richard didn't want to hurt Ryan. But he couldn't give up the Sterling family behind me. After 1 second of hesitation, Richard agreed. Prepare the welcome home banquet. The mood was heavy. The sisters had no appetite. They only waited for breakfast to end so they could comfort Ryan. At the second floor corner, Ryan heard Richard agree to my demand. Hatred filled his eyes. His fists clenched tight. They had promised he would never take my place. I would still be a Whitmore heir. They said he was coming back as the adopted son. But in less than a day, I lost my room. I lost my title as the Whitmore heir. I had no home and no family left. I was in a good mood, so I ate more than usual. Then I held out my hand to Helen and smiled. Mom, give me money. I need clothes. Helen frowned. She already hated me. Now she found me even more ill-mannered. But with Richard there, she forced a gentle tone. Ethan Hayes, your room has plenty of nice clothes already. I cut her off. You mean I should wear that adopted son's hand-me-downs? Am I, the Whitmore heir, not worth new clothes? I wasn't like my past life, blindly obeying everything. Back then, I only swallowed every insult. In this life, I won't take even one slight. I'll be the one making others miserable. Richard got angry seeing Helen drag her feet. What a short-sighted fool. He'd told her who Ethan was. If they could get in with the Sterling family, the Whitmores could stand tall in Fairview and break into the capital. He cleared his throat and spoke like an order. Ethan Hayes is a Whitmore son, my son. Of course he can't wear old clothes. He didn't grow up with us. We need to make it up to him. After breakfast, take Ethan shopping. Get him new season shoes, watches, bags, the works. Nothing cheap. The Whitmores were rich, but Richard hated spending that much. He only did it for the Sterlings behind me. No bait, no catch. At this point, Helen could only agree. After Richard's warnings, she had to hide her anger. Upstairs, Ryan saw it all, and his heart broke. This morning, Mom said she'd take me out to clear my head. Now she's taking him shopping. What does that make me? 18 years of love couldn't beat 1 drop of blood. All my years with them felt like a joke. The sisters shot me bitter looks. If Ryan found out, he'd be crushed. Richard looked at me like I was stacks of cash. Waving at him, his face even softened. Ethan, if you need anything, come to Dad. I've got your back. Buy plenty of clothes today. Tomorrow, go with your mom and Ava to register at Fairview Prep. I've arranged everything. Don't stress. Just go through the college exam. Scores don't matter. I've already lined up your college. Fairview Prep. At that school's name, my lips curled, and my eyes turned cold. My past life memories there were hard to forget. The ride in Helen's luxury car was tense. Ryan came too, supposedly to help me pick things out. He clung to Helen's arm, sharing cute childhood stories. Mother and son laughed happily. They tried to create a closeness I couldn't join. In my past life, I might have felt hurt and jealous. Now it just felt like 2 flies buzzing by my ear. Seeing my blank face, Ryan couldn't help speaking. Ethan, tell us some fun stories from your childhood. We'd love to hear. I turned and stared coldly. What do you want to hear? How I went hungry and cold, rolling in the mud. Or how, while you lived in luxury with the Whitmores, I suffered in your place? I said it bluntly and cruelly. Ryan's smile froze. Ethan, that's not what I meant. I am sorry. His eyes reddened as he waved, looking deeply wronged. Ethan Hayes. Helen instantly defended him. Ryan meant well. Can you stop acting like a porcupine? Watch your tone. Existing is his sin. Ever heard that? I sneered. If not him, should I take it out on you? A mother loses her own son, feels no guilt, and helps an adopted son bully her real one. What a great mother, I said with sarcasm. People once ditched wives for mistresses. You ditch blood for an adopted son, Mrs. Whitmore. How unique. Helen flushed with rage and blurted. You aren't even. The words reached her lips. Then she stopped hard. She didn't dare say I wasn't their real son. If I found out I wasn't Whitmore blood, Richard would never forgive her. I met her eyes. I pressed her. What? If you've got the guts, say it. Seeing her face like she'd swallowed a fly, I felt even better. The real misery was still coming. Enjoy it. The rest of the ride was silent, except Ryan's fake chats I ignored. We reached Fairview's most upscale mall. I didn't hold back. I headed straight for the top luxury boutiques. Helen followed, swiping the card with shaking hands, her face darkening. Ryan was so jealous he nearly lost it. This no-limit, take-whatever-you-want treatment was something he'd never had. He always had to read Helen and the sisters first, and act sensible and frugal. This couldn't go on. He had to do something. He took a deep breath, forced a gentle smile, and said to Helen, "Mom, we've been walking so long. You must be tired. Let's rest." Helen was aching over the money and jumped at the chance. But I spoke first, looking down at Ryan. "No one begged you to come. If you're tired, go home. Don't kill the mood." Ryan instantly looked lost, his eyes turning red. "Ethan, no. I was just worried about Mom." "Enough." Helen's anger flared again. "Ethan Hayes, Ryan just cares about me. And you've bought so much. That's enough." I smiled and waved the black card. Richard's secondary card. "I'm the Whitmore heir. Why should I settle? You owe me 18 years. What's wrong with buying some clothes?" My face cooled. "If you're that tired, go home. For anything I want, I'll call Dad to pay." Same trick. Helen and Ryan's faces turned ugly at once. It was a naked threat. Helen didn't dare leave me here alone. She could only grit her teeth and keep shopping with me. Her face was dark as a storm cloud. Inside a top brand's flagship store, I tried on clothes like no one else existed. Seeing Ryan so down, Helen still pitied the son she'd raised for 18 years and nudged him. "Ryan, go pick a few things you like too." Ryan declined a few times, then obediently went with Helen. His mood seemed much better. He came out in a new white shirt. He turned in front of the mirror and smiled at Helen. "Mom, does it look good?" Ryan loved white. The shirt made him look even more clean-cut and sweet. "It does. Our Ryan looks good in anything." Helen smiled warmly. "TCH." I snorted at the worst possible time and stepped out too. I wore a sharp-cut black biker jacket. With a dark red shirt, I looked wild, untamed, and intense. "The mirror's right there. Can't you tell for yourself?" I looked Ryan up and down, my tone cruel. "Look at that scrawny frame. No shoulders, no height. In that white shirt, you look like a kid playing dress-up." Ryan's face went from pale to red. He shook with humiliation. "Ethan, why are you insulting me like this?" he asked, his voice breaking. "Insult? Telling the truth is insulting now?" I dragged him to the mirror. I pointed at us in the mirror. One looked pretty but thin. The other was tall, handsome, and in full command. No contest. Compare for yourself. Am I wrong? I let him go and patted his shoulder, not gently. "Little brother, some things can't be forced. Like presents." Ryan was so mad he almost passed out. Helen yanked Ryan behind her and pointed at me in fury. "Ethan Hayes, where are your manners?" I sneered, louder than her. "You're talking to me about manners? Did you raise me these 18 years? Did you teach me? Anyone can lecture me on manners. Anyone but you." Helen choked again, speechless. "Ryan, why are you crying?" Just then, a sharp female voice rang out. I looked up. 3 stylish, arrogant young women walked in. Vanessa Hale, Brooke Lawson, and Sienna Prescott. They were Ryan's classmates and admirers, all from connected families. In my past life, they often helped Ryan put me down and humiliate me. Talk about bad luck. They hurried over and greeted Helen first. Then Vanessa took Ryan's hand with concern. "Ryan, who bullied you? Was it him?" Her hostile gaze landed on me. Ryan shook his head. He forced a smile uglier than crying. "Vanessa, nobody bullied me. I was just careless." Still denying it? Brooke had a fiery temper. Her mother was the mistress who took the wife's place. So Brooke learned every dirty trick for fighting over favor. She stepped forward and sneered at me. "What is this world coming to? An adopted son dares bully the real heir? How pathetic." Sienna chimed in with a snide tone. "Too many shameless people can't tell who they are." They laughed, mockery clear in their eyes. Ryan was secretly thrilled, but acted anxious and pushed them toward the door. "Brooke, Vanessa, please go first. Okay? I'm begging you." That only made Vanessa and the others more sure Ryan was being bullied. They were furious. He wanted a clean exit, but I refused. I strode to the door and blocked their way. "What's the rush? Since you're my brother's friends, as his older brother, I should get to know you." My tone was lazy. There was mockery in it. Vanessa and the others already hated me. Seeing me block them only made them angrier. Brooke sneered. "A country hick like you wants to know us? Ask yourself if you're worthy." Vanessa was even more condescending. "No need to know us. Just remember who you are, and who the real Whitmore heir is. An adopted son shouldn't reach for what isn't his. She stepped closer to meet my eyes, but the height gap killed her momentum. We're Ryan's friends. We won't watch some nobody bully him. We'll have Ryan's back, Sienna said, puffing out her chest. Ryan was frantic. I was done wasting words on them. My eyes settled on Ryan, and my voice reached everyone clearly. Ryan Whitmore, as an adopted son, remember your friend's advice. An adopted son shouldn't reach for what isn't his. Remember who the real Whitmore heir is. The words hit like thunder, draining all color from Ryan's face. Vanessa and the others were stunned too. Ethan Hayes, Helen shouted, furious and flustered. Ryan could barely stand. I enjoyed their priceless faces. Then I called Richard and put him on speaker. Dad. My voice carried a trace of hurt and anger. You heard all that, right? Your daughters, your wife, and your adopted son's friends. All reject my place here and defend Ryan at every turn. This family, I can't stay here another second. I said just a few lines, then hung up. Richard immediately called Helen's phone. Even through the receiver, we could hear him roaring in rage. In the end, under Richard's strict order, Helen and Ryan had to apologize to me in front of Vanessa and the other two. They also had to confirm again that I was the Whitmore heir. Vanessa and the others turned green, then pale. When they looked at Ryan, there was, for the first time, a hint of doubt and scrutiny. Ryan felt shame and humiliation like never before. The image he'd worked so hard to build was torn apart by me today. Satisfied, I picked up the clothes I'd chosen. Then I gave the clerk one order. Send them to the Whitmore house. Then I walked out under their hateful, shocked, complicated stares. Outside the mall, a low-key but imposing black sedan stopped before me. The window slid down, revealing a stunning face with a wild edge. My best friend, and the only one who knew my rebirth secret, Chloe Blackwell. She curled her lips in a smile. Ethan, get in. I'm taking you to see a show. I opened the door and got in. The car slowly pulled away. Through the window I saw Ryan, Helen, Vanessa, and the others, standing at the mall entrance with ugly looks. Just then, several figures shot out of the crowd like ghosts, carrying unknown objects. In a flash, they splashed it at Ryan and the others. Ah! Piercing screams split the shopping district. An indescribable stench spread. It was sewage. Ryan, Helen, Vanessa, Brooke, and Sienna, plus Victoria and Madison, who caught up later, were all hit, drenched head to toe in filth. Their hair, faces, and pricey clothes were smeared with grime. The crowd erupted and backed away fast. Then they pulled out phones to film. In the car, Chloe handed me milk tea, grinning like a fox. Well, happy with your welcome back gift? I watched the chaotic, reeking mess outside the window. A cold, satisfied smile slowly curved my lips. Nice work. This is only the start. Ryan, my dear sisters, everything you owe me, I'll collect it all with interest. Fairview Prep. See you tomorrow. The car cruised smoothly back to the Whitmore house. Chloe handed me a warm milk tea. She'd made it herself, and it was as amazing as ever. Ethan, the school forum and local boards are handled. HD and censored close-ups from every angle. I took a sip, sweet and silky. It washed away my irritation from the mall. Fast work. People like that deserve this. Chloe lounged back, but her eyes were sharp. Let them learn what social death feels like. I watched the streets blur past, my eyes cold. In my past life, Ryan and his girl squad, and those dear sisters of mine, spread plenty of rumors about me online. They ruined me. This life, I'm just returning the favor. It was already 10 p.m. when I got back to the Whitmore house. As soon as I walked in, Richard was on the living room couch. He looked grim. Helen, Ryan, and my sisters were gone, probably hiding upstairs and scrubbing like mad. After all, that smell lingers. Ethan Hayes, you finally decided to come home? Richard looked relieved when he saw me, but his tone still blamed me. Why couldn't I reach your phone? You skipped dinner too. What kind of behavior is that? I took out my phone and tapped it casually. The screen was black. Oh, battery's dead, I said, brushing him off. Then I sniffed on purpose and frowned. What's that smell? Kind of stinks. I swept the empty living room, then acted enlightened. Oh right, Dad. Did you have dinner with them? Richard paused. I did. Why? I looked impressed and disgusted, then gave him a thumbs up. Impressive, Dad. I mean it. That smell on them, and you still managed to eat? Just picturing it makes me sick. Richard's face turned strange. His Adam's apple bobbed. Dinner hadn't bothered him, but after I said that, his stomach suddenly churned. What are you talking about? He was getting angry. Nonsense? I raised a brow. I took out my phone. It was dead, but I could still describe it. Dad, didn't you see it blowing up online? HD videos, close-up photos. Ryan, Helen, and those dear sisters of mine, plus Vanessa's crew, got doused with sewage outside the downtown mall. It was brutal. People say they can smell it through the screen. I clicked my tongue and kept twisting the knife. Doesn't Ryan call himself a noble young man? The campus god? Great. Now he's gone from campus god to sewage boy. And Vanessa's crew? They usually look down on everyone. Now they're the city's joke. I wonder how they'll show their faces at school tomorrow. Every word was a poison-dipped blade. It stabbed Ryan and the others hiding nearby, and Richard's face went livid. This hit the Whitmore's name. Enough, Richard growled. He rubbed his brow in irritation. I'll handle this. Stop provoking them from now on. Me provoking them? I snorted. Dad, you've got it wrong. They're the ones clinging to me like rabid dogs. I behaved and went shopping today. They did too much evil and got karma. What's that got to do with me? I was done arguing with him and turned upstairs. At the second-floor landing, I ran into Ryan, fresh from a shower, his hair still wet, his face pale, his eyes swollen red. The moment he saw me, he stiffened, hatred flashing in his eyes. Ethan, he called softly, his voice hoarse. I covered my nose and backed up 2 steps, disgusted. Stay away from me. How many times did you wash? Why do you still stink? Did it soak into your skin already? Ryan's face flushed red. He shook with humiliation. He nearly ground his teeth to dust. Ethan Hayes, you've gone too far. A furious shout came from the side. It was my so-called oldest sister, Victoria. She had clearly just showered too, and she looked awful. She pointed at my face and snapped. Was it you? Did you set this up? The second you left, this happened. It had to be you, you curse. I spread my hands, all innocent. Victoria, accusations need proof. Vanessa is the mayor's daughter. With this big a mess, the police must be investigating. If you have proof, I ordered it. Wait for the official report. If you ask me, your mouth stink too much, you pissed off too many people, and karma hit. You? Victoria choked, speechless. She could only glare at me. Enough. All of you, shut it. Richard barked from downstairs. Is this not messy enough already? Victoria stomped in anger and dragged a tearful Ryan back to his room. I watched them go and smiled coldly. This was just the warm-up. The next morning, the dining room felt even weirder than yesterday. Richard was gone, probably off to the office early. Helen, Ryan, and my sisters sat at the table, all looking worn out. Their dark circles were heavy. Clearly, none of them slept well. When they saw me come down, they all went silent like someone hit mute. Even the forks and knives hit the plates more softly. Ryan even shrank his neck and did not dare meet my eyes. I walked straight to his old seat and sat down naturally. A maid quickly brought fresh utensils, trembling. No one dared say a word. Strength is the only way to earn respect. I ate breakfast slowly. My eyes swept over Ryan's pale, fragile face, and I asked on purpose, Ryan, Ava, are you still going to school today? Ryan and Ava both stiffened. You saw the school form, right? My tone made my gloating obvious. You're the talk of the school now. Sewage Prince and Sewage Princess. Nice titles. If I were you, I couldn't show my face. Ryan bit his lip so hard it almost bled. Ava snapped her head up and glared. Before she could speak, I went on. Especially you, Ryan. Your campus god title is probably gone. You may need a gas mask when you go out now. Wouldn't want people recognizing you. You're too famous. Ethan Hayes. Ava finally snapped, slapped the table and stood up. Are you done yet? If not for you, how would he get doused with sewage? I cut her off, my eyes turning cold. Ava, did sewage rot your brain? Did I make him stand outside the mall and get splashed? You start trouble, then blame me. Do you all think I'm easy to bully? I set down my chopsticks and stood up too. My height alone made Ava step back on instinct. I'm telling you, my eyes swept slowly over everyone at the table, including Helen, whose face looked awful. Ethan Hayes, did not come back to take your abuse. When I had no parents, no one dared mess with me. What? Now that I found a family, I'm supposed to swallow it? Then what do I need this family for? My voice was not loud, but it carried a sharp chill. It felt like the dining room dropped a few degrees. Whoever makes me miserable, I'll make them miserable for life. If you don't like it, try me. With that, I pulled back my chair and headed out. Mr. Miller, bring the car. We're going to school. The butler quickly bowed and answered, Yes, sir. Behind me was dead silence. Ryan watched my back as I left, the venom in his eyes almost solid. Ethan Hayes, just you wait. Once we're at school, let's see how cocky you can be. Fairview Prep, the best private high school in Fairview. Most of the city's elite kids went there. A black luxury car stopped at the school gate. I got out with my backpack in one hand, the brand new uniform on me. somehow looked wild and commanding. I stood apart from the naive or spoiled students around me. My arrival drew plenty of eyes at once. Who's that? He's so hot. Such a strong presence. What class is he in? Never seen him. Transfer student? At the same time, more eyes watched with suspicion, along with hushed whispers. Did you see the school forum? Oh my God, Ryan and them. Keep it down. That's the Whitmore's real heir they just found. Ethan Hayes. That's him. He looks like trouble. Ryan messed with the wrong guy this time. I heard that mall mess yesterday might have something to do with him. My hearing was sharp, so I caught every word. A faint smile tugged at my lips. Chloe always delivers. The school forum was already heating up. Ethan, a fake warm voice called from beside me. I knew who it was without turning. Ryan and Ava had arrived too. Ryan wore a gentle smile, as if yesterday and this morning never happened. Ava followed beside him, looking at me like an enemy. Ethan, let's go in together. I'll take you to the office. Ryan stepped up and tried to take my arm. I turned aside, my eyes cold. No need. I know the way. Ryan's hand froze midair, but his smile stayed. A dark look flashed in his eyes. More eyes gathered around us. Ava couldn't stand it and scoffed. Ethan Hayes, don't push it. Ryan is trying to help you. Ava. Ryan quickly stopped her and shook his head. Then he gave me an apologetic smile. Ethan, Ava and I will go first. I watched their fake friendly backs and smiled coldly. Keep acting. Let's see how long you last. Following the signs, I reached the office. The one receiving me wore gold-rimmed glasses. She was a sharp-faced, middle-aged teacher. She pushed up her glasses and looked me over. Her eyes were condescending and full of disdain. Clearly, she'd heard about me, or Ryan had warned her ahead of time. So you're Ethan Hayes, she said coldly. Your records are transferred. Grade 12, Class 1. That's our honors class. Follow the rules. Don't drag the class down. She stressed honors class and drag down. Her meaning was clear. A country kid like me didn't belong there. I said nothing and just looked at her calmly. My stare made her uneasy. She cleared her throat. Then she handed me a schedule. Here's your schedule. Your homeroom teacher is Mr. Bennett. His office is on the second floor. That's all. Go. I took the schedule and turned to leave. At the door, I stopped. I looked back and said lightly, Ms. Whitaker, you have greens in your teeth. Ms. Whitaker froze and covered her mouth. Her face turned bright red. I smirked and walked off. I had just reached the classroom building when someone blocked me. 3 tall guys in basketball jerseys. The leader had a buzz cut and fierce eyes. He was the school basketball captain, and one of Vanessa's loyal lapdogs. His name was Derek Stone. Hey, you're Ethan Hayes? Derek folded his arms and blocked my way. The 2 behind him looked hostile too. I raised a brow. What? Heard you're cocky. Bullying Ryan the second you got back. Derek stepped closer, trying to pressure me with his height. Too bad he was a little shorter than me. And you got Vanessa and the girls hurt. I'm warning you. Stay away from Ryan and Vanessa or I'll make you pay. I smiled, full of contempt and mockery. Make me pay? I stepped forward, almost nose to nose with him. My eyes were cold as blades. Just you? Derek flinched under my pressure and stepped back. Then shame turned to rage. Fuck. Before he could finish, I struck. I grabbed the finger he pointed at me and bent it back hard. Crack. A sharp, sickening snap. Ah! Derek squealed like a pig. He doubled over in pain. His 2 buddies went pale and rushed forward. I let go of Derek's finger while he grimaced in pain. Before he could react, I kicked him in the stomach. Bang. Derek's huge, nearly 6'2" frame flew backward from my kick. He hit the flower bed, curled up, and groaned. The other 2 stopped dead, staring at me in fear. They didn't dare move closer. I dusted off my clean hands and looked them over. Anyone else want to try? The 2 went silent and shook their heads fast. The students watching were stunned too. They looked at me with awe and fear. This guy is ruthless. He even hit Derek. And he took him down so clean. I ignored them, grabbed my backpack, and headed straight for the senior building. At the classroom door, I heard noise inside, and a familiar female voice. Victoria, my oldest sister. She was the physics teacher for grade 12, class 1. Some students shouldn't think connections let them do whatever they want. School is for learning, not showing off. And don't bring that outside trash into this school. Her meaning was clear as her sharp eyes swept over me. The whole class instantly looked at me. Some were curious, some shocked, some gloating. And some, like Ryan, had a flash of smugness. I met Victoria's cold stare without fear. A faint smile even tugged at my lips. Victoria, is that your opening line? Pretty weak, dear sister. Let our game begin right here in this classroom. Grade 12, Class 1, Fairview Prep's top science class. It had the best students and the richest kids. I stood at the door. Victoria's cold stare met me, along with the whole class's eyes. For a second, I was back in my past life, that careful transfer kid everyone pushed away. But this time was different. Reporting in. My voice was calm, with no emotion. Victoria adjusted her glasses, her eyes sharp as knives. She did not let me in. Instead, she said coldly, "Ethan Hayes, late on your first day? Is that your attitude toward school?" I checked my watch and said evenly, "Ms. Whitmore, the bell rings in 1 minute. If that's late, half this class is late too." A few muffled laughs rose in the room. Victoria's face darkened. She had not expected me to talk back. Sharp tongue. "Even if you're not late, cutting it close shows a sloppy attitude. Honors classes have rules, unlike wherever you came from." The bias was obvious. I smiled, but my eyes went colder. "Ms. Whitmore, where I came from, teachers taught facts first. So honors rules mean making things up?" "You?" Victoria choked, her chest rising with anger. She took a deep breath and forced it down. Then she pointed to an empty seat in the back by the trash can. "That's your seat. Behave and don't distract the others." It was the worst seat in class. I shrugged, not caring. Under pitying and amused stares, I walked over. As I passed Ryan, he gave me a worried look with hidden smugness. He whispered, "Ethan, Ms. Whitmore is just strict. Don't take it personally." I ignored him. After I sat down, the student beside me moved their chair away on instinct, as if I might rub off something dirty. Victoria started class on electromagnetic induction. It was tough. She taught clearly and had skill, but kept glancing my way. Her scrutiny and disgust were plain. This next problem was last year's physics contest finale. It's challenging. "Any volunteers?" Victoria wrote a complex problem on the board. The room went quiet. It was hard, combining several concepts. Ryan frowned slightly, thinking. He was the physics rep, always near the top. A few strong physics students wanted to try, but were still working it out. Victoria scanned the room, then stopped on me. A faint sneer tugged at her lips. "Ethan Hayes, you just transferred in, so your basics may be weak. But it's good to try. Want to come up and show us what you've got?" Her tone was clearly baiting me, waiting for a show. The whole class looked at me again. A flash of pleasure crossed Ryan's eyes. He knew how hard it was. Even I need time to solve it. How could a hick like Ethan Hayes solve it? Going up would only humiliate him. Everyone thought I'd either back down or go up and embarrass myself. I set down my pen. Under Victoria and Ryan's eager stares, I slowly stood. Sure, my voice was not loud, but it carried through the room. Under stunned eyes, I walked to the podium and picked up the chalk. Without pausing, I started writing on the board. Let L be the effective length cutting the field lines and V the speed. By Faraday's law, factoring in the coil's self-inductance, we need differential elements here. My board work was smooth, clear, and rigorous. It was even cleaner than the method Victoria had expected. The chalk tapped crisply across the board. Each sound seemed to hit everyone's heart. The room was silent except for my writing. Victoria's sneer had frozen. Shock and disbelief took its place. This approach is even better than my reference solution. How could some bad student from the countryside do this? Ryan's eyes widened as he stared hard at the board. All color drained from his face, like he'd seen a ghost. In under 3 minutes, I circled the final answer. I put down the chalk, dusted my hands, and looked at Victoria calmly. "Ms. Whitmore, I'm done. Is it right?" Victoria stared at the perfect solution on the board. Her mouth opened, but no words came. Someone in the room started clapping. Then scattered applause followed. Soon it grew loud. These top students might exclude a transfer kid. They might judge people by family status. But they still respected real skill. I looked at Victoria's livid face and Ryan's shattered look. I sneered inside. "To slap you, I hit where you're proudest." In my past life, they framed me and I bombed the college exam. But later, while drifting around, I taught myself college physics. I even made progress in some fields. A high school contest problem was nothing. Lucky. Maybe you've seen a similar problem. Victoria finally found her voice and tried to save face. "Sit down. Pay attention in class. One problem doesn't make you special." I did not bother arguing. Under the class's mixed stares, I calmly returned to my seat. For the rest of class, no one dared look at me like a hick. When the bell rang, Victoria almost fled the classroom. I had just packed up and was about to get some air. Someone blocked my way. It was Ava. She and Ryan were in the class next door. "Ethan Hayes, what did you do to Victoria?" Ava snapped in rage. Clearly, she'd heard what happened in class. What could I do to her? I raised a brow. I only answered her question. "What, Ms. Whitmore can't handle losing?" "Bullshit. You must have used some dirty trick." Ava's voice turned sharp. "I'm warning you. Stay away from Victoria and Ryan. or I'll make you pay. That line again. My eyes went cold, and I stepped forward. I closed in on her. Ava, did you forget this morning's lesson? Or do you want to get slapped in public too? My height made Ava go pale. She backed up on instinct. She shouted, trying to sound tough. Why you wouldn't dare? Try me, I said coldly. See if I dare. The chill in my eyes scared Ava. She gritted her teeth and spat. Just you wait. Then she dragged a worried-looking Ryan away. I watched them leave, my gaze dark. Ryan, this is only the start. Whatever you care about, I'll destroy. Your grades, your popularity, your sister's love. I'll crush it all myself, piece by piece. At lunch, I avoided the crowd and went to the roof. Chloe was already there, holding 2 nice lunch boxes. Ethan, first round, you won. She smiled and handed me one. I heard you gave Ms. Whitmore one hell of a public slap. I took it and opened it. Inside were my favorites. Small stuff. Victoria was just the start. We leaned on the rail, eating as we looked over the campus. The school forum is still blowing up, Chloe said. Ryan and those girls haven't dared show their faces today, but they'll keep moving in the dark. I nodded. Ryan, his sisters, and Vanessa's crew would never let this go, right? Chloe remembered something. Astorwell Medical sent word. The Hales and Prescotts are still throwing money at finding the ghost doctor. They want Evelyn Prescott Hale treated. The offer has tripled. Evelyn Prescott Hale, Vanessa's mother, helped Vanessa make my life hell before. I remembered her rare nerve disease and years of constant pain. I took a sip of water. Tell them the ghost doctor isn't seeing anyone. Also send Deputy Mayor Hale the little gift we prepared. Little gift? Chloe raised a brow. A detailed file on Deputy Mayor Hale's precious son. Gambling big overseas and allegedly laundering money. A cold smile curved my lips. Let him taste panic for once. Chloe smiled. Got it. I'll handle it. Then my phone buzzed. A special encrypted message. I opened it. A dark web DM. Sender, Ava. The message was simple with faint panic and respect. Ace of Spades, are you online? I need urgent help. Some false posts on Fairview Prep's forum homepage won't delete. The admin permissions seem altered. I've tried everything and failed. If you have time, could you give me a pointer? Money is no problem. Reading it, I could picture Ava tearing her hair out at her computer. Totally overwhelmed. The forum defenses and anti-delete scripts were things I threw in last night. At Ava's level, even noticing the permissions were changed was decent, but cracking it? Not a chance. I replied slowly, with the same intimidating quote. Fixable. Price. 500 Bitcoin. Pay first, then I solve it. A reply came fast. Her tone was shocked and strained. 500 Bitcoin, Ace? Isn't that a bit high? Could you lower it? I closed the DM. Bargaining? She didn't have that privilege. Chloe glanced over and laughed. No one shakes people down like you. Ethan, 500 Bitcoin could wipe her out. She brought it on herself. I said flatly. In my past life, Ava often used her hacking skills to clean up Ryan's messes, even change my exam scores. This lesson is light. Still, if she found you, she has connections. Chloe rubbed her chin. Want to teach her a harder lesson? I shook my head. Not yet. I still need her. She's bait to draw out whatever she may have touched. Beneath the surface. I always felt Ava reaching this level. At her age meant some hidden break. The dark web runs deep. All afternoon, Vanessa's group kept whispering. No need to guess. They were plotting how to deal with me. After school, I saw Brooke leave the classroom first. Vanessa's group stayed put. I knew exactly what that meant. I told Chloe to head to the cafeteria first. She didn't think much of it. Those losers were no match for me, so there was no need to worry. Vanessa's group lit up when they saw me alone. They'd planned to handle both of us if needed, but we split up. Ryan was about to come lure me to the roof. When he saw me heading there myself, after I humiliated them yesterday, they couldn't wait to tear me apart. As soon as I reached the roof, I saw Brooke. I said coolly, "What, want to see your poster again? Want another taste of yesterday?" At that, Brooke's face twisted with rage. But the thought that I'd soon become the school's new spectacle, that made her feel much better. So what if you're the real Whitmore heir? You're just a lowly slave. You'll always be our toy. Soon you'll learn what crossing us costs. After that, Vanessa and the others walked in. Ava was the only one missing. They'd brought 4 boys too. Ryan shut the roof door. Their faces were vicious. Today, they said they would ruin me for good. Vanessa waved the 4 boys over to surround me, but she saw no panic on my face. I looked at these clowns. Don't waste time. Come at me together. Vanessa felt mocked and snapped. Get him. Hold him down. The 4 dumbasses they brought moved first. I didn't hold back. Those 4 had bullied people with Vanessa's crew and done plenty of damage. After I stomped them down one by one, Vanessa and the others started to panic. How is he this strong? Ryan's eyes even darted toward the door. But without them noticing, I was already standing by the door. To leave, they'd have to get past me. Since this morning, I'd never planned to let Vanessa's crew leave the roof easily. They didn't dare move, so I had to start things. I sent one flying with a slap. Ava, keeping watch outside, heard something wrong and rushed to pound on the door. Open up. Open the door. I smirked. Since you're here, join them. I opened the door. Seeing everyone beaten down on the floor, Ava snapped in fury. You've got some nerve. Do you know who you just messed with? I glared at her and yanked her inside. Bang. I slammed the door shut. Ava glared at me. Smack. I slapped her instantly. Why are you screaming? Ava clutched her face. Since I was little, besides my dad, no one has ever dared hit me like that. I'll kill you. Seeing Vanessa's haircut, Brooke and the others fell into despair. I waved the clippers in my hand. Don't struggle. This is my first haircut too. I just got some practice. I'll try to keep my hands steady. Brooke burst into tears. I don't want my hair cut. I don't want it cut. Please, I won't ever do it again. Want to die instead? I said coldly, how about I make you eat Vanessa's shit? That one line stopped Brooke's crying. Under their hopeless stares, I shaved them one by one. Ava didn't get spared either. When I was done, I pulled out my phone, took plenty of photos, then went to the sink to wash my hands. As I washed, I said, Ryan, didn't I tell you to stay away from me? You haven't been beaten enough these 2 days, so you pushed your sisters at me? They got dragged into this because of you. In my past life, these 4 were united when they bullied me. Now I wanted to see if they'd stay that united. Then I walked out in a great mood. Revenge really does clear the head. In the cafeteria, Chloe had already gotten my favorite dishes. I handed her my phone. Look, my handiwork. Chloe took the phone and swiped through the photos. Nice haircut, she said. Ethan Hayes, you really are a fashion icon. Always ahead of the trends. I changed the subject and brought up Astorwell Medical. We hadn't talked long before my phone rang. It was Richard. The moment I picked up, Richard's furious roar came through. Chloe and I both stayed silent. Just then, the school PA came on. Ethan Hayes from grade 12, class 1, report to the principal's office at once. The announcement was rushed. Vanessa and the others' backgrounds were all the kind you didn't mess with. Now all of them had gotten hurt at school. Chloe and I acted like we hadn't heard it. We kept eating slowly. Meanwhile, the school PA sounded again. Ethan Hayes from grade 12, class 1, report to the principal's office at once. This time, the voice was even faster and more urgent. Only after Chloe and I finished eating did we stroll over. My phone was still buzzing nonstop in my pocket. In the principal's office, the parents of Vanessa, Sienna, Brooke, and the others were all there. Richard was there too, under attack from the kids' parents. Principal Harris wiped the cold sweat from his forehead. He was panicking too. Vanessa's father, Deputy Mayor Hale, slammed the table. Principal Harris, what kind of principal are you? You make us wait this long just to bring one student here? Do you not know how valuable our time is? Principal Harris forced a smile. I've sent teachers to find him. He should be here soon. As soon as he finished, the office door was kicked open. Deputy Mayor Hale was closest and couldn't dodge. The door fell and slammed into him. Richard and the principal rushed over to help Deputy Mayor Hale up. After kicking the door open, I swaggered in. Then I sat straight in the principal's chair. The moment Vanessa and the others saw me, they lunged at me like wildcats. With their parents backing them, they all got bold. I smashed the teacup on the desk onto the floor. Seeing my dark smile and remembering the fear from earlier, they turned to their parents and tattled. Dad, this bastard bullied me. He cut my hair. Vanessa said viciously. Mom, this bastard hit me. He cut my hair too. Don't let him off. Brooke sobbed too. Sienna refused to be outdone. Dad, the Whitmores don't respect us at all. He didn't just cut my hair. He slapped the Prescott family in the face. Ryan and Ava wanted to complain too, but seeing their father's livid face, they wisely kept quiet. They only hoped this would get me kicked out of the Whitmore house for good. Patricia Lawson snapped in rage. Richard Whitmore about this. The Whitmores owe the Lawsons an explanation. Seeing her daughter beaten like that, she wanted to rip me apart. If not for the image she'd built after clawing her way into the Lawson family, no one had ever dared slap her in the face like this. Richard Whitmore, we need an answer we're happy with. Richard glared at me, furious. What sin did I commit? I haven't gotten anything from him, and he's already cost me this much. Kneel and apologize to your classmates. Now, I snorted and said lazily, apologize? Are you kidding me? Even Chloe laughed, her eyes sweeping over them. Richard, before you make me apologize, shouldn't you ask why I hit them? No reason justifies doing this to these students. Patricia spoke first, her chest heaving with rage. Do you know how important Heir is? So young and already this vicious. Why didn't you go to a teacher or the principal? I scoffed. The principal is on your side. If teachers helped, their past victims wouldn't have transferred. Victor Prescott stared at Richard and pressed him. What good is an apology? Your son did this, so he clearly has no respect for the Prescotts. Honestly, this was just a small incident. Those families were only using it to squeeze benefits from the Whitmores. Richard didn't want that. He just wanted me to apologize, hoping to smooth things over. But I refused. So he swallowed his anger and asked Ava what happened. He wanted the full story. Ava and Ryan looked uneasy. They kept hesitating. I didn't want to waste time. They cornered me on the roof to teach me a lesson. Out of kindness, I repaid evil with good and gave them haircuts. You're lying. You attacked us the second you saw us. Brooke insisted she never fought back. You hit me the moment you came in. Then Vanessa and Sienna came and you beat them too. You even went after your own brother, then dragged your sister in. You beat us up and cut off all our hair. How can you be so cruel? Brooke sobbed. Patricia hugged Brooke in pain. Look at Ethan Hayes. Not a scratch on him. Open your eyes and look. Brooke isn't the only one. Vanessa and the others are hurt too. Richard said, pained. Kids roughhouse. That's normal. But we can't let this hurt our relationship. Then he glanced at me. Ethan Hayes apologized to them. I stood up. I stared at Richard. Apologize? Not happening. If you want that, disown me instead. Richard was so mad his chest hurt. He breathed deep. The Sterlings were behind me. He couldn't lose his temper. Ethan Hayes, just apologize first. Okay? Why should I? It wasn't my fault. I shot back and started to leave. Patricia walked over. Did I say you could leave? We haven't cleared this up. Who said you could go? Even the principal tried to stop me. Chloe kicked out and sent the office door flying open. With a loud bang, I grabbed Patricia's finger. Didn't your mom teach you it's rude to point? Then I squeezed. Ow, ow, ow. Let go. I hadn't planned to waste time with them. Richard could clean it up. But Patricia walked right into my hands, so I changed my mind. Isn't it clear enough? Your daughter's filthy stunts at school. Do you people really have no clue? I'm not their first victim. If all this gets exposed, do you think Lawson Corp won't take a hit? With that, I turned to Deputy Mayor Hale and Victor Prescott. Deputy Mayor Hale, think you can keep your seat? My tone was icy. Now I really wanted to take them on. So I sat back and raised my hand. Chloe pulled out a phone. It held clear proof of Vanessa's crew bullying classmates for years. One look and Deputy Mayor Hale's group went cold. He didn't get it. He'd clearly buried all this. How did this guy still find it? He traded looks with Patricia and the others. They all saw shock in each other's eyes. His face went pale. I was going to let it slide. After all, he was still useful later. Deputy Mayor Hale, don't be scared. I only want an apology today. Hearing that, the parents dragged their kids over to apologize. Vanessa and the others were spoiled rotten. How could they apologize to the guy who'd beaten them? They all fought it. In the end, Deputy Mayor Hale forced Vanessa's head down. The other parents followed. Seeing their humiliated faces, I felt great, but not enough. I wanted them all kneeling. What good is a verbal apology? In my past life, when they helped Ryan bully me, they often forced me to kneel and bow. I wanted Vanessa's crew to taste it too. Just imagining their hopeless, humiliated faces filled me with joy. Then my words exploded through the room. Vanessa and the others froze. So did Deputy Mayor Hale's group. Kneel and apologize? What a humiliation. Vanessa's eyes reddened with rage. In your dreams. Patricia gritted her teeth. Enough. Don't push it. Push it? I waved Chloe's phone. Your daughters have done far worse. You can refuse to apologize. Go ahead and gamble. See if all of you together can survive this storm. Patricia and the others looked awful. They didn't dare gamble. Deputy Mayor Hale and the others all looked at Richard. Richard could only bite the bullet. Ethan Hayes, do me a favor. You didn't get hurt today anyway. Chloe picked up the fruit knife on the principal's desk and said coldly, what if I stab you right now, but don't kill you? Just cripple you, then give a casual apology. Would that work? You'd still be alive. Richard didn't dare answer. Chloe's repeated provocations finally angered Victor. Young lady, don't talk so big. This is Fairview. A scorched earth fight won't help you. Victor Prescott, right? I hear your family lives on Astorwell Medical's pills. Before he could answer, Chloe took out her phone. Right in front of him, she made a call. The Fairview Prescotts and Hales cut off their pills. Victor Prescott scoffed. Astorwell Medical listens to you? Stop being ridiculous. They were a giant in medicine. Beyond hospitals, Astorwell was a huge resource hub, backed by the ghost doctor. Plenty of big shots begged Astorwell for treatment. Some fools tried force. Dirty or clean, it made no difference. By the next day, they were all wiped out. That was Astorwell's power. But the second she hung up, Victor and Deputy Mayor Hale got texts. Astorwell had ended business with both families. Astorwell actually listened to her. Deputy Mayor Hale's eyes went wide. Patricia was even more excited. The Lawsons had always wanted to work with Astorwell, but never had the chance. Victor's tone softened too. This is a misunderstanding. All of it. We'll apologize. Chloe looked at them coldly. Kneel and apologize. Otherwise, the Prescotts and Hales are finished. She gave a soft cough and lifted her chin. Bad kids are their parents' fault. I'm kind enough not to make you kneel too. Patricia tugged Brooke. Kneel and apologize. Deputy Mayor Hale and the others also ordered their kids to kneel. But Vanessa and the others refused. They all fought back hard. Patricia was so angry she slapped Brooke across the face. Kneel. If you don't, get out of the Lawson family. I have no daughter like you. Offend Astorwell, and our move into the capital could collapse anytime. Or rather, the Lawsons could be wiped out anytime. Brooke was scared by her mother. Humiliated to the core, she finally dropped to her knees. Word by word, she said, I'm sorry. I was wrong. Then Vanessa and the others got hit too and knelt down. They all apologized through clenched teeth. Sorry. Vanessa raised her voice at the end. Happy now? Then she tried to stand. Who said you could get up? The second I spoke, Deputy Mayor Hale panicked and held Vanessa down. Vanessa glared at me. We're all kneeling. What else do you want? I rested my chin on one hand. Not everyone is here. You can get up after they all apologize. They weren't the only ones today. Vanessa's 4 lackeys joined in too. I wasn't letting them off either. With no choice, Principal Harris had to call those 4 students over the PA. When the 4 boys heard they were called to the principal's office, they thought they were just there to explain what happened. After all, Vanessa's crew ran this place. They were ready to go in and accuse me hard. But when they walked in and saw the scene inside, they froze. All 4 rubbed their eyes in disbelief. Vanessa's crew was kneeling before me. Had the world gone crazy? How is this possible? Get in here. The 4 trembled and stood behind Vanessa's group. They stammered, Principal. I said calmly, kneel and apologize. Get it done. Class starts soon. The 4 students obediently knelt. They hated it, but even Vanessa's group was kneeling. How could they refuse? Sorry. Please forgive us. Since the apologies are done, let's talk punishment. Vanessa looked up at me, clearly unhappy. Patted her face. What, not convinced? You thought an apology was all? Ryan looked pained. He just wanted to leave. He just wanted this over. He never expected someone this powerful behind me. Jealousy burned in him. With Chloe backing me, his chance of driving me out of the Whitmores was almost 0. But if I stayed with the Whitmores, his life would only get harder. In the end, all 8 got major demerits. I didn't have them expelled because the torture wasn't over. Principal Harris let out a breath. That was close. Good thing he hadn't been dragged in. But the next second, my eyes landed on him. Vanessa's crew had bullied so many students before. Those students had come to the principal, and he always covered it up. A man like that doesn't deserve to be principal. So, resign on your own? Or do we remove you? Principal Harris froze. He looked to Deputy Mayor Hale, hoping he would plead for him. But Hale would never offend us for him. He said righteously, I also think this principal should be replaced. I'll join the other parents and report his misconduct. Shielding bullies is unforgivable. With that, Chloe and I left the office. Back in class, I logged onto the school forum and posted Vanessa's crew's new looks. Though they were famous at school, I kindly added their names and classes. The school forum was already buzzing. The moment the new look post went up, countless students came to watch. Seeing Vanessa's crew's new looks, many students were secretly thrilled. These people had ruled the school like tyrants. Finally, someone could put them in their place. The comments all said, justice at last. After Vanessa's crew knelt and apologized, they went home and got another harsh scolding. Vanessa and Sienna had caused Evelyn Prescott Hale to lose access to Astorwell's pills and nearly got punished under family rules. After all, the Hales and Prescotts had reached their current status because of their marriage alliance. If anything happened to Evelyn Prescott Hale, the marriage alliance between the families would weaken. Then there was Brooke. The Lawsons were moving into the capital. They had offended Astorwell. Even if Astorwell did nothing, their move into the capital would face endless roadblocks. When Brooke's father heard, he rushed back at once. Furious, he gave Brooke a brutal beating. Ava was called home too. Except for Natalie, who was away filming, All the other kids were called back. Victoria and the Whitmore sisters came home. When they saw Ryan and Ava's haircuts, they all exploded. Who did this? They snapped. Ryan did not dare speak. They all blamed me anyway. After all, who else could it be? That curse. Since he came back, this house has had no peace. Victoria spoke first, as usual. Olivia followed. That ungrateful brat. Shut your mouths. Richard shouted, glaring at Ryan. Ryan, will you die if you stop stirring trouble for one day? Didn't I tell you not to mess with Ethan? Why won't you two listen? Richard shook with anger. He thought of how they kept coming after me. And my rejection of the Whitmores made him furious. He finally lost control. He strode up to Ryan and slapped him twice. Richard's move shocked the whole family. Dad, how could you do that to Ryan? Madison cried. Shut up. You don't know what happened. Yet you're running your mouth. Richard was furious and told them what happened at noon. Then he warned them again. Ryan, he is your brother. Remember your place. I'm warning all of you. Be polite to him. If you target him again and offend him, don't blame me for being ruthless. Ryan had never felt time crawl like this. Ethan seems to have ties to Astorwell. Richard then told the Whitmores the whole story. Natalie was a doctor. At Astorwell's name, her eyes burned with desire. Every doctor's ultimate goal was to enter Astorwell's top hospital system. They also dreamed of meeting the ghost doctor. Her throat tightened as she asked, Dad, don't worry. We'll treat Ethan well. We won't hurt him again. She wanted into Astorwell and hoped I could help. That would take her career to a whole new level. Ryan stared at his fourth sister in disbelief. They had clearly said before that he would always be their only brother. They would never accept Ethan. It had only been a few days. Ryan was terrified. His worst fear had come true. I would take what he valued most piece by piece. Seeing Ryan's face, Victoria cleared her throat. Only then did Natalie remember Ryan. She felt no guilt. Instead, she brought up today. Ryan, how could you two do something like that? Bullying classmates. If this gets out, the Whitmore's reputation will suffer. Did you not think of that? Still, she cared about the brother she grew up with. So her tone softened toward the end. Dad is right. We're all family. Ryan, Ethan is home now. Isn't it nice to have another brother? Ryan rejected it deep down. He did not need a brother. He wanted to be the only Whitmore son, the only heir. But he couldn't say that, so he forced his lips up into an ugly smile. You're right, Natalie. Olivia chimed in. Then let's listen to Dad. We should be a happy family. As his sisters, we'll treat Ethan well. Olivia was the CEO of the Whitmore Group. Astorwell had huge prestige in medicine, and in business too. With their support, the declining Whitmore Group could rise again. Entering the capital would no longer be a dream. The blows kept coming. Ryan had just been betrayed by Natalie, and now even Olivia was speaking for me. Ryan panicked. Everything that was his was slipping away bit by bit. Seeing his two daughters act so sensible, Richard's anger eased a little. Looking at Ryan, he still offered a few words of comfort. Ryan, we've had over 10 years together. Don't overthink it. You will always be our son. Ryan nodded and said nothing. About the welcome home banquet, I plan to make it big. We'll welcome Ethan back in style. We'll let all of Fairview know Ethan Hayes is my son. After all, Ethan's relationship with us isn't good right now. A grand banquet can help repair that bond. Ryan, when the time comes, we'll announce your status too. Don't worry. Our bond of over 10 years means you're still our son, blood or not. The more Richard spoke, the colder Ryan felt. He thought, a grand banquet will make Ethan happy. Do they not know it will hurt me? These people do not care how he feels at all. Ryan felt chilled to the bone. This time, no one argued with Richard. After all, no one would turn down Astorwell's wealth and status. After Richard left, Ryan deliberately knocked off his wig. He hoped his sisters would stand up for him. Victoria and the others looked shocked and asked, Ryan, what happened to your hair? Ryan's eyes reddened. He said in panic, It's nothing. It has nothing to do with Ethan. It's my fault. That set Victoria off. She was about to explode, but Olivia, the second sister, spoke first. In that case, Ryan, go back to your room. Ryan did not want to, but he had to turn back. He moved slowly, making sure they saw the tears on his face. Ava and Victoria ached for him and wanted to comfort him, but Natalie and Olivia stopped them. Some things couldn't be avoided. If they wanted to get on my good side, they couldn't also coddle Ryan. Victoria looked at the closed study door and said helplessly, Olivia, Natalie, didn't we agree to talk Dad out of the banquet? Didn't we agree Ryan would still be our brother? And did you not see Ryan's hair just now? Ethan bullied him like that, and you're doing nothing? Victoria, do you know what Astorwell means? Olivia pushed up her glasses, her eyes shining. The Whitmore Group is sinking every year. If we connect with Astorwell, The Whitmores could become Fairview's top family overnight, and even break into the capital. Olivia's dream was to take the company into the capital someday. Her brother mattered, but not more than her dream. Besides, the Whitmores had treated Ryan well and given him luxury. But our bond of over 10 years. Madison cut her off. Victoria, if the Whitmore group falls, everything you have now is gone. Without the company, how will you buy your designer bags? With your 10-year bond? Victoria choked. Ava fell silent too. Their good life came from the company. Ryan mattered. But next to the company mattered more. Because of Olivia's words, no one went upstairs to comfort Ryan. At the second-floor corner, Ryan heard everything. His heart went cold. He thought, they would at least come comfort him. Once they came up, he would put on a show and tell them how I cut his hair, and how I humiliated him. That night, I came home right after class. I walked into the hall and found everyone gathered. Except for Madison, who was away filming, everyone was there. Seeing me come in, Helen came over warmly, all smiles. Ethan Hayes, you're back. How was your first day? Are you tired? I didn't answer. I brushed past her and walked in. Olivia and the others greeted me too. They acted so friendly, the past 2 days felt like a dream. Ethan, come sit here. Ryan greeted me warmly too. He had talked himself into it. Since he couldn't change it, he had to accept it for now. If he kept going against me, he would only drift farther from the family. Richard was very pleased with their behavior. A family should live in harmony. Ryan wore a wig, hiding the new look I'd given him. I thought that was a shame. I picked a seat, and as I passed Ryan, I accidentally knocked his wig to the floor. Ah! Ryan screamed in fright. He panicked and reached for the wig. Oops, I didn't mean to. I looked at him innocently. Right then, he wished his 4 sisters would help him. When they stayed silent, Ryan could only swallow his anger and force an ugly smile. Then I muttered, bad luck. Better stay away from you. It was a murmur, but everyone in the room heard it. Victoria hated me most. Once I provoked her, she snapped at once. What do you mean? Richard cut her off at once, warning clear in his eyes. But I didn't let them off. Every so often I tossed out, at the banquet Ryan's status goes public. Will he hate me? Ryan's smile looked worse than crying. Of course not. I'm happy you're back, Ethan, and you are Mom and Dad's real son. Victoria, why aren't you smiling? Aren't you happy about the banquet? Or were you born without a smile? Ethan, you're overthinking it. Of course I'm happy. Ryan, friendly reminder. At the banquet, stay away from me. You'll make me look cheap. Once we were about done talking, I was full too. I turned and went upstairs. Victoria and the others stared at the food, too angry to eat. I'd spent the whole meal mocking them, leading them by the nose. As for Astor, well, they never got a chance to ask. Richard still wouldn't give up. In the end, he came upstairs and knocked. I was video chatting with Chloe. Being interrupted put me in a foul mood. I yanked the door open, angry, and snapped, what do you want? I want to build a connection with Astorwell. I found it hilarious and said without mercy, connect with Astorwell? The Whitmores aren't worthy. Richard hadn't expected me to be so blunt. For a moment, he had no reply. I couldn't be bothered with him. I slammed the door shut. Richard burned with rage. He wanted to kick the door open, but thinking of my ties to Astorwell, Richard held back. Meanwhile, Ava quietly slipped into Ryan's room. Seeing Ryan sitting alone by the mirror, heartbroken, Ava ached for him. When he saw her, Ryan hurried to put on his wig. Ava, why are you here? Ava walked up and gently wiped away his tears. She whispered, I'm sorry. I failed to protect you. Ryan's tears fell faster. He shook his head. It's not your fault, Ava. Ava scoffed. He only knows someone at Astorwell. He's not Astorwell himself. He's just a country boy. Does he really have the pull to make Astorwell work with us? Dad and the others are confused, grasping at straws. Ryan, don't worry. I'm always on your side. I'll make sure he can't stay at school. Ava hated me to the bone. Ryan pressed his lips together. Ava, about today's school forum posts, Victoria said they can't be deleted. If those 3 posts stay up, we'll be mocked forever. First, we got drenched in sewage. Then our hair got cut. Just thinking about it, Ryan ground his teeth. Ava's face looked awful too. The forum pylon kept getting worse. Ryan couldn't let those posts stay up any longer. He couldn't bear those mocking looks from classmates. Ava, why not ask Ace of Spades to delete them? It's just that 500 Bitcoin is steep. Ava's photos were on the forum too. With no other choice, Ava agreed in the end. The posts had to go or they would follow them forever. Ryan added Vanessa's group to the chat too. They discussed deleting the posts. At first, hearing it could be done, Vanessa's group was happy. But once they heard the price, they all deflated. Their families were rich, but they didn't get unlimited cash, just allowance. It hurt, but they finally reached an agreement. Ava came to me on the dark web. I looked at her message and thought it over, then took the job. Only an idiot turns down money. But the old quote was for one post, 500 Bitcoin. Now there were 3 posts, so the price had to change. I even gave them a discount. I typed 200 million. Ryan almost jumped. They were already scraping together 100 million, and after angering their parents today, they didn't dare ask for money. Now another 100 million. Where would they get it? Ava said Ace of Spades was the top hacker on the dark web. His rates were always sky high. Looking at his past jobs at this price were tiny. She'd also contacted others on the dark web, but found no one who could delete the posts. My script wasn't that hard. The reason everyone she found failed was that Ava was weak even by dark web standards. She could only reach people at her level. The truly skilled ones were out of her reach. She had Ace of Spades contact, only because I had approached her on purpose. Ryan and the others couldn't accept it. It had only been 1 day, and the price had doubled. So they told Ava to bargain with Ace of Spades. Ava refused. The dark web wasn't a flea market. Who haggles there? In the end, under Ryan's tear attack, Ava was forced to give in and message Ace of Spades anyway, though she was furious. When I saw the bargaining message, I almost laughed out loud. After a thought, I sent back 300 million. Ryan went blank when he saw Ace of Spades reply. Who bargains like that? Ava felt her cheeks burning. That number felt like her idol was mocking her. Ryan and the others still refused to give in, but didn't dare bargain with Ace of Spades again. In the end, they had to settle at 300 million to delete the posts. They borrowed everywhere and still came up short. With no choice, they finally told their families. In the end, each family paid since the posts embarrassed them too. They couldn't leave those stains online forever. Ava sent the money. In less than a minute, all 3 posts on the school forum were deleted. Ava was stunned by her idol's speed and worshipped him even more. At the same time, spending that much made her heart bleed. The next morning, when I came down, the whole family was already there. No one had touched their food. They were all waiting for me. Everyone greeted me warmly. They were so eager, like we were truly one family. I found it funny. The Sterling family plus Astorwell had real power. The people who looked down on me in my past life, who insulted and tortured me at will, were now wagging their tails before me like dogs. But I didn't care about their friendly faces. The family love I once begged for? I didn't want it now. Especially not from these disgusting Whitmores. At breakfast, I picked fights over everything. Whatever Ryan wanted to eat, I took it. If Ryan so much as looked at me, I'd speak first. Why do you keep stealing everything I want to eat? Maybe we're just incompatible. When Victoria spoke up for Ryan, I asked her straight out, Victoria, do you have some dirty little secret with Ryan? Are you two hooking up? Why else be so nice to an adopted son? After I tore into Victoria, Ryan whispered to her, Ethan's just like that. Country boys have no manners. But he didn't expect me to hear every word. I said coldly, isn't it normal I have no manners? Don't you all call me a country boy? Ryan, did you forget my parents were busy raising you? With that, I stood and flipped the dining table with both hands. Then I stormed off. Behind me, the Whitmore screams were pure music. Helen stared at the mess, still shaken. Furious, she snapped, this is the person you insisted on keeping? Look at him. Ever since he came back, this house hasn't had 1 day of peace. Richard shot her a cold look. If you can't talk right, shut your mouth. But, smack, Richard slapped her across the face. Did you forget what I told you yesterday? The reason he rejects us now is because when he first came back, you, his mother, didn't stand up for him. Isn't it normal he's resentful? Helen held her face. No matter how angry she was, she didn't dare say more. Richard then looked at Victoria. What kind of oldest sister are you? You know Ethan has Astorwell behind him, yet you still act so high and mighty. Looking at the mess, Victoria was deeply irritated too. Ryan said weakly, Dad, I didn't mean it. I didn't think Ethan would get mad over that. Don't, I me. Richard cut him off. Ryan, do you not know your place? It's normal that Ethan doesn't like you. Why do you keep pissing him off? Can you just shut up and stay quiet? Richard was truly furious. Seeing Ryan's pale face and thinking of his engagement to Brooke, his tone softened. Sorry, Dad was too harsh just now. Ryan, I hope you can understand. I'm trying to balance things between you two. We've raised you for years. Of course we don't want you hurt. Ryan nodded obediently, but inside he sneered. Time flew. 2 months passed. Every day, I stirred up trouble at the Whitmore house and kept it in chaos. The 5 sisters, Richard, and Helen took turns hounding me. They demanded I connect the Whitmores with Astorwell, but I brushed them off. They tried going through Chloe too, and got nowhere. The Whitmores' patience slowly wore thin. Richard no longer treated me as nicely as before. He only held back because of the Sterling family behind me. Victoria slammed the desk. You turned in a blank test? People like you are a waste of education resources. Even a pig could score higher than you. Why even take the college exam? Go back and farm. Since she had to mind Chloe's link to Astorwell, Victoria dumped all her anger on me. I didn't expect Victoria, after holding it in for 2 months, to lose it at school. I didn't expect Ryan to lose patience too. Ms. Whitmore, you know Ethan used to be a country boy. He never had this kind of education. A blank test is normal. Exactly, Ms. Whitmore. He's just some poor kid. You expect him to understand problems this advanced? He only got in because his family paid. How sad. Having him in our class drags us all down. Brooke seized the chance and couldn't resist kicking me too. They hadn't forgotten what happened that day. Once someone started, Sienna and Vanessa couldn't sit still either. They all chimed in. Victoria deliberately didn't stop them. She kept watching me, thinking I'd blow up, but I stayed calm. Their words didn't touch me at all. Victoria snapped, furious. Do you have any shame? Can you take school seriously? Ms. Whitmore, I cut her off. I turned in a blank test because it was too easy. I don't listen in class because you're a terrible teacher. And everything you teach I already know. There's nothing about you worth learning from. The whole class went silent. No one expected me to say that. Chloe burst out laughing and said lazily, Ethan, save the teacher some face. Ms. Whitmore may be a little dumb, a little slow, but she's not completely useless. We should be kind to the mentally challenged. Victoria's face turned black. My teaching is terrible? You know everything I teach? Big talk. Then do today's mock exam paper. Let me see if you're a genius or an idiot. I leaned back and said lazily, it's just one test. I'm not scared. It's just boring. What a great chance. Ryan spoke at once. What would make it fun? How about a bet? I'd been here 2 months, and in every subject, he'd never seen me take class seriously. Every test I turned in was blank, except that one problem I solved on day 1. Ryan was more certain I had just gotten lucky. I'd happened to have seen that problem before. After 2 months of holding back, Ryan desperately needed an outlet. If he could humiliate me with this, all the better. A bet? I perked up at once and sat up straight. Now that's interesting. How do you want to bet? Or how do all of you want to bet? 2 people is no fun. If we're doing this, everyone joins. Ryan looked at me, full of confidence. This paper. If you score higher than me, I'll clean toilets for a month. If you don't, you clean them for a month. Deal? He wanted me to be toilet captain for a month? I frowned. That bet was disgusting. Even if I won, it would not do much. Seeing me stay silent, Ryan kept pushing. Scared? Didn't you just say you know everything she teaches? That bet is really boring. Victoria knew Ryan had done well this time, so she jumped in. Then what do you want to bet? We'll play along. My lips curved. Life had been a little dull. Now they were rushing to entertain me. Interesting. After a thought, I said, I prefer something practical. I'm guessing you all own property, right? Ryan's face stiffened. He had not expected me to go this big. Property was his last safety net. If one day the Whitmores kicked him out, that would be all he had left. Ryan hesitated. Fine, let's bet. But you only have 2 properties. What are you putting up against us? Victoria gave Ryan a look, telling him to stay calm. She had graded Ryan's physics paper. He had overperformed this time. Except for the final advanced problem where he lost 10 points, Ryan lost only 2 points on everything else. He scored a 98, and no one in the whole school solved that final problem. She did not buy my crap about knowing everything she taught. With Victoria backing him, Ryan was full of confidence. Fine, let's bet. Who's scared? Brooke chimed in too. I'll bet 2 Ethan Hayes. Your 2 properties won't cover it. What if you lose? Seeing them all join the bet, Vanessa, Sienna, and Ava refused to fall behind. They all said they wanted in. They all looked at me with mockery, trying to trap me. After all, they thought I did not have enough to cover it. Brooke said provocatively, so, what if your own stake isn't enough? Or ask if anyone in class wants to bet with you. She looked around. The whole class was silent. No one joined me. Just as she was about to mock me again, Chloe spoke. I'm betting with him. If he loses, come to me for every cent. On what grounds? 5 bets. How can you cover them alone? Is Astorwell enough? Chloe gave a scornful laugh. If you win, Astorwell resumes supplying the Prescott's pills. Deal? At Astorwell's name, Ryan and the others fell silent. They had heard that name from their families too many times lately. Of course they knew what it meant. Now that Chloe brought up Asterwell again, they remembered how much their families valued it and changed their tune. Fine. Just introduce us to someone at Asterwell. Chloe did not refuse. Fine. Promise. Ethan Hayes won't lose anyway. Hearing Chloe agree, Ryan and the others were thrilled. They wanted to tell their families the good news right away. Victoria pulled out my blank paper. Come get your test. Start now. I did not move. 2 properties. Different locations, floors, layouts, and prices. I never let myself get shortchanged. Before taking the test, I confirmed the property details with Ryan's group. I roughly estimated the prices. I also wrote down the details of my own properties. That way, when I won, they could not brush me off with cheap ones. Then I took the paper from Victoria and started writing fast. The whole class watched me take the test. I worked insanely fast, like I did not need to think. My pen never stopped. Victoria and the others were confident, not for a second thinking I'd beat Ryan. They were already imagining getting a connection to Asterwell later. They would tell their families the good news right away. Their families would definitely reward them. Half an hour passed. After solving the final big problem, I slapped the paper down in front of Victoria. Ms. Whitmore graded it carefully. I finished pretty fast. Victoria mocked my overconfidence in her head and repeated, "If you lose, you can't use the time limit as an excuse. Whoever loses has to pay up." I raised a brow and stopped wasting words. The classroom was silent. Victoria began grading. At first, her face was full of disdain. Gradually, her expression turned serious. Shockingly, every answer was right. Victoria graded with extreme care. She even checked each problem several times to make sure she had not misread it. Her heart sank. The more she graded, the more uneasy she grew. Not a single mistake. How was that possible? Since transferring here, he had never studied seriously. He got 0 on every subject. How could he solve this test? And with no mistakes. Soon, she reached the final big problem. With just one look, Victoria's pupils shrank hard. She even rubbed her eyes. The final problem was beyond the syllabus. No student in the school had solved it, yet I had not only solved it, I had listed several different methods. She herself only knew one method. It was unbelievable. And there was one fact she did not want to admit. After reading my solutions, even she learned a lot. Victoria could not accept it. She could not accept losing to me. She could not accept losing to someone she looked down on. She flipped back to page 1 and checked it from the start. She looked for anything she had missed, any point she could deduct. Seeing Victoria flip through the paper again and again, Brooke and the others grew tense. I teased, "Ms. Whitmore, stop wasting everyone's time. You've checked it several times. Just tell us the result." Every eye in class fell on Victoria. She did not want to admit it or believe it, but she had to announce the result. Ethan Hayes got a perfect score. Those words exploded in everyone's ears. How is that possible? They thought I might win, but a perfect score? Ryan and the others nearly lost their footing. 2 properties. That hurt. They had already lost a lot of money deleting those posts. Now losing 2 more properties made their hearts bleed. I waved the paper with the property details. Thanks for the easy win. Then I turned to Chloe. I won some idiot's money. Let's celebrate over dinner tonight. Seeing me happy made Chloe happy too. The word "we" pleased her even more, stirring a little sweetness inside. Chloe said sweetly, "I'll book the table." No way. Brooke screamed. She had been counting on this chance to connect with Asterwell. How could he win? Thinking of her 2 properties, Brooke's heart clenched. She strode to the podium, snatched my paper, and checked it again and again. Victoria had graded it. At a glance, it was covered in red checks. The score in red was even more glaring. I mocked her without mercy. "Brooke, you useless idiot. Do you even have the brain to understand it?" Brooke was so mad she wanted to slap me twice. "Your mouth is pure poison." I met her eyes and said meaningfully, "Am I wrong? Can a useless moron with an underdeveloped brain and a shriveled cerebellum understand this?" "Watch your tone and your words." Victoria stepped in. She couldn't stand how aggressive I was. "Ms. Whitmore, it sounds harsh, but it's true. I'm already being nice." Victoria's face went livid. She slapped the desk. "Shouldn't you be more humble? Is that any way to talk to a classmate? Did all your years of school go to the dogs?" I slapped the desk and stood up, even louder than Victoria. I spared her no face and sneered. "When I was humble, you called me a pig. Is that how you teach? Is that how you educate people? Looks like your schooling went to the dogs. You and Brooke are the same, useless morons with underdeveloped brains and shriveled cerebellums. You know only one solution to the final problem. If that's not stupid, what is?" Victoria reacted fast and raised her voice. "Who says I only know one method? I know every method on your paper. You just wrote them down first. I was going to wait until I explained this problem to the class. and then walk everyone through it properly. She had just studied them carefully and basically memorized them. Who could prove she hadn't known them before? I wasn't surprised she could say something that shameless, so I spoke at once. Really? Ms. Whitmore, since you're that good, this problem has 2 more solutions. I didn't write them because there wasn't enough room. Please explain them to us properly, Ms. Whitmore. I'd love to discuss them with you too. Victoria's face tightened. Seeing my smug look, she knew I was setting her up. Her mind raced, searching for other solutions. But no matter how hard she thought, her mind stayed blank. A long time passed. No way, Ms. Whitmore. Don't tell me you don't know. If you don't, you can humbly ask me. I won't laugh at you. Victoria clenched the paper, wishing she could shut me up on the spot. After a moment, Victoria's brow eased, and she admitted, I really don't know any other solutions to the final problem. Since you know them, Ethan, please come up and explain this problem to us. Let the rest of the class learn. As the teacher, I'll study it carefully too. She couldn't hide that she didn't know, so she might as well admit it. She wanted to see if I really had more or if I had set a trap. Without another word, I walked up. Our eyes met. Mockery filled my eyes as I started writing fast on the board. The whole class focused on the board. Then I wrote down the 2 remaining solutions. When I finished, I tossed the chalk straight into the chalk box. Ms. Whitmore, check if these methods are wrong. Victoria's face shifted from green to white. Finally, her lips twitched. Ethan, you're very impressive. The student has surpassed the teacher. I'm proud to have such a capable student. I glanced at her. Something felt off about Victoria. I felt she was plotting something. Sure enough, she smiled at me. Since you're so good, Ethan, how about I give you a few problems? I want to see if this is your real level or if there was another reason. After all, this paper was handed out before. You knew the questions in advance. Brooke jumped in at once. The paper was handed out before. If you copied the questions early and pulled some trick, then solving the final problem or getting a perfect score wouldn't be hard. For fairness, I think Ms. Whitmore has a point. Let Ms. Whitmore test your skills. Then we'll be convinced. If you're really that good, you won't be scared, right? Victoria spoke with a gloating smile. Knowing my file, Victoria would never believe in my ability. She was sure I'd cheated in advance, and that today was all planned. Hope rose in Vanessa and the others. Maybe they still had a chance to connect with Astorwell. They all assumed I was cheating. I did not refuse. Sure, no problem. Then set the problem, Ms. Whitmore. Victoria was thrilled. She wrote a problem on the board at once. Chloe and I looked at that familiar problem. Amusement filled our eyes. We had underestimated Victoria's shamelessness. We knew Victoria would try to stump me with advanced problems. But we did not expect her to go this far. The problem she wrote was from the famous physicist Dr. Alpha. Dr. Alpha had an account on X. He often posted interesting problems for everyone to discuss. This was one he had posted recently. Victoria still had not solved it. Wow. Nice one, Victoria. She was using my own problem to test me. Seeing my look, Victoria guiltily looked away. To make me lose, she copied a problem from her idol, Dr. Alpha. She refused to believe I could solve it. But then she figured, besides hardcore physics fans, no one would follow this stuff on X. Victoria calmed down a little. She cleared her throat and began. This problem is a bit hard. But if you solve it, we'll believe in your real ability. And we'll believe you did not cheat. Only then is your win fair. The class stared at the problem, totally lost. Forget solving it. They barely understood the question. I did not answer right away. I said coolly, solving it is not hard. But after what just happened, I have doubts about Ms. Whitmore's ability. How about this? Ms. Whitmore and I write our solutions on the board together. I want to test her ability too. Let's see if she deserves the role. Everyone can judge. Victoria watched me warily. Sure, I was up to something. Does Ethan Hayes know I can't solve this either? Victoria thought about how to reject my demand. Otherwise, she would be trapped. Just then, Ryan spoke first. Ms. Whitmore, compete with him. Show him there's always someone better. Ms. Whitmore, agree to Ethan Hayes' request. Make him lose with no excuses. Ava chimed in too. Ms. Whitmore, do it. We believe in you. Brooke refused to fall behind. They all wanted Victoria to compete fast and prove I lacked the skill. To prove I had cheated in advance. Then they could keep their properties and make Chloe honor her promise. Victoria panicked at once. No one would think Victoria could not solve the problem she set. She was instantly stuck. If she had known, she never would have picked something this advanced. But if it was not this hard, she feared it would not stump me. Chloe found her look hilarious. This was shooting yourself in the foot. She copied my earlier tone. Ms. Whitmore, don't tell me you don't know either. Why else resist so hard? Victoria was furious. Then she thought, fine, let's do it. She believed I could not solve it either. With a problem this deep, she was sure no one else could understand it. She could write anything up there as long as it looked advanced. Who would know if it was right? After steadying herself, she said with confidence, "Fine, I agree. We'll write our solutions on the board together. I'd like to see if you can surprise me again with another method." Ethan. So Victoria and I stood on opposite sides of the board. As the countdown began, we picked up chalk and started solving. Victoria had already made her plan. She would copy Dr. Alpha's solution from another problem. No one would notice anyway. Victoria wrote fast. She knew that solution by heart. I was faster. Before Victoria finished, I put down my chalk first. The students were shocked by my speed and started whispering. "Damn, Ethan Hayes is that good? He finished faster than Ms. Whitmore. Is he really a top student? So what if he's fast? Anyone can write nonsense. It has to be right." Chloe slapped the desk, and the whole class went silent. Vanessa's group was insanely jealous. Why did Chloe back me up? Victoria found it funny. This problem came from her idol, Dr. Alpha. How could I possibly solve it, let alone that fast? Ethan Hayes did not even bother faking it. At that moment, Victoria felt she did not even need to read my work. I had already lost. After a long while, Victoria finally put down her chalk. She pushed aside the movable centerboard. She wanted to see what nonsense I had scribbled. She had even planned how to mock me. But when she saw my solution, Victoria's smile froze for a split second. She studied it carefully, and a storm rose in her heart. Ethan Hayes seemed to have solved it. How was that possible? Dr. Alpha had just posted this problem, and no one had solved it yet. That was absolutely impossible. But the writing on the board kept telling her I was right. She even thought, so this problem can be solved this way. Why had she not thought of it? Excitement, confusion, everything churned inside her. But her face stayed calm. She could not lose. Losing to someone she looked down on would stain her life. Seeing her stay silent, I spoke first. "Ms. Whitmore, shouldn't we check each other's solutions now?" Victoria steadied herself and said, "Is that necessary? Yours is full of errors." Shamelessness was Victoria's normal state. Victoria picked up the chalk and walked to my solution. First, she drew a huge X. Then she started marking my work. "Can you use your brain? You can't even solve such a simple problem?" As she went, she called me dishonest and attacked my character. I was so mad I laughed. I had to admit, Victoria's gift for lying through her teeth was just like Ryan's. The problem was too advanced. No one in class understood it. Seeing Ms. Whitmore tear into me, everyone assumed she was right. They all started blaming me. I thought he was a real top student. Turns out he cheated. Disgusting. Dumb and vicious. He even tried to win properties off Brooke and the others. If Ms. Whitmore hadn't pointed it out, I'd think Ethan was amazing. So gross. Chloe stood up, her voice ringing out. The second she spoke, everyone looked over. Vanessa and the others were thrilled. Had Chloe seen my true colors? They were all happy. Ryan was even more excited. Without Asterwell, I would have no value. The Whitmores would stop being nice to me. Then getting me kicked out would be easy. Chloe let out a cold laugh. "I meant Victoria is the dumb, vicious one." Victoria snapped in anger. "Chloe, watch your tone and your words. Ms. Whitmore, am I wrong?" Chloe walked over, her presence overwhelming. Victoria couldn't come up with a reply. In that brief moment, Chloe was already in front of her. Victoria backed up on instinct. She asked nervously, "What are you doing?" Chloe clamped onto her arm, making Victoria grimace in pain. "Ms. Whitmore, don't be so nervous. I'm just borrowing your chalk." Chloe took the chalk from her and shoved her aside. Then she looked at the class. "I called Victoria dumb and vicious for a reason. Ethan's solution is correct. Victoria's is the nonsense. If you don't know it, just admit you're average. She's vicious because she used her role as a teacher to frame Ethan's right answer as wrong." Chloe took the chalk and first tore apart Victoria's solution. Then she copied Victoria's style and insulted her right back. She summed it up in one line. No skill, no ability, no character. Unfit to teach. After that, Chloe explained my solution again. Victoria was unsteady, but she forced a calm voice. "Chloe, what right do you have to say mine is wrong? Victoria, you really don't know when to quit." Chloe took out her phone and connected it to the classroom screen. She mirrored her phone, opened X, and searched Dr. Alpha. At that moment, Victoria truly panicked. She knew Dr. Alpha. Victoria stepped forward to stop her. I blocked her, my voice icy. "Ms. Whitmore, what are you doing? Chloe is explaining the problem for us." Chloe quickly found today's problem. She also introduced who Dr. Alpha was on X. Even skilled people in the field need a lot of time to solve Dr. Alpha's problems. Yet Victoria used his problem to make things hard for Ethan. The funniest part? Victoria couldn't solve it herself. Chloe pulled up Dr. Alpha's previous post. It was a different problem. The comments had the solution. Once she opened it, it matched Victoria's work exactly. Counting on students not understanding. She copied another problem solution word for word and passed it off as today's solution. Then she shamelessly belittled Ethan and swore she was right. The class went dead silent. Chloe's eyes finally landed on Victoria. Victoria, did I get anything wrong? What makes you qualified to teach? Chloe was brutally direct. The whole class erupted. Now that they knew the truth, the way they looked at Victoria changed. They had thought teachers were impressive. They never expected her to be worse than a student. Victoria's face flushed red. Their stares were like loud slaps across her face. If there had been a hole, she would have crawled into it. But I had no plans to let her off that easily. Victoria, shouldn't you apologize to your students? You're a teacher. Do I need to teach you that too? Victoria was deeply humiliated, her eyes full of venom. I stepped forward and grabbed her. She struggled to escape, but couldn't move. Hurry up and apologize to our class. Friendly reminder. If you don't apologize, Victoria, don't even think about getting up. I'm sorry. I picked my ear. Too quiet. Can't hear you. Victoria raised her voice through gritted teeth. I'm sorry. I was wrong. I shrugged and looked at her coldly. Remember the properties. I know your character is trash, so I'm warning you now before you back out. With that, I let go of Victoria and returned to my seat. Then I took the hidden microcamera from the book on my desk. After a quick edit, I posted the contest with Victoria and the later takedown of her as a video. Victoria would be the first person I destroyed. First, I'd ruin her name, then make sure she met a miserable end. After the video went up, Chloe immediately had people push the post onto trending. The whole internet tore into Victoria. Someone like her didn't deserve to teach. With a deliberate push, users soon flooded the school's official account and the Fairview Education Bureau's account, cursing Victoria in the comments. A teacher like that has no right to educate anyone. Kick her out of school. Kick her out of education. And that wasn't all. Victoria's personal info was exposed too. People learned she was the Whitmore's eldest daughter. The Whitmore group took a hit too. Some users were already boycotting it. Just then, my identity got exposed further online. Of course, users only found my public-facing identity. I was actually Victoria's biological brother. And Victoria bullied and cursed out her own brother because he had not grown up with her. I had not hidden that on purpose. I even leaked some of it myself. As for Chloe's info, users could only find her name, nothing else. Once my info got out, even more people cursed Victoria. Is this woman insane? She keeps targeting her own brother. With Chloe fanning the flames, the Whitmore group took a heavy hit. Victoria was suspended pending an investigation. After school, Chloe and I went to Astorwell. The Hales and Prescotts had visited many times, trying to buy Astorwell's pills and bring out the ghost doctor. They kept raising the offer, but Astorwell turned them down. They even had people in the capital put in a word. But it was useless. Astorwell never bends to threats. After dinner, we discussed what came next. Only then did Chloe drive me home. Before going inside, I could not help saying, Chloe, you don't have to stay with me at school. I'll handle the Whitmore mess soon. You should handle other work. Every day after school, Chloe had tons to do, often working late into the night. Now both Astorwell and Greyfong were in Chloe's hands. Chloe's eyes softened, and her lips curved. She said softly, Ethan, are you worried I'm overworked? I nodded honestly. Chloe mattered a lot to me. In this life, I had gotten this far, and had enough power to destroy the Whitmores largely thanks to her. I was grateful. Chloe tucked her hair behind her ear, her tone as gentle as ever. Ethan Hayes, I want to stay with you. We grew up together. I don't want to miss anything about you, not a single second. Faced with Chloe's sudden confession, I did not know how to respond. We grew up together and knew each other too well. How could Chloe not know what I was thinking? I raised my hand and rubbed her head. Hey, don't overthink it. There's a long road ahead. We still have so much time. After Chloe left, I went inside. As expected, the Whitmores were waiting in the living room, faces grim. No surprise, Victoria's mess did not just affect her. It dragged down the Whitmore group, and even the other four sister scandals got dug up one after another. Each of them got cursed out to some degree. Right now, the whole internet was dragging the Whitmores. And since the afternoon, my phone had been off. The Whitmores could not reach me, so they must have been panicking. When I walked in, Helen spoke first. So you finally came back. Phone off? Where the hell were you? I glanced at her. Helen backed up in fear. But thinking the whole family was upset with me now, She found some nerve, lifted her chin, and snapped. Why are you glaring? Am I wrong? Don't you know to come home after school? You don't even answer your phone. What kind of behavior is that? I cracked my knuckles and walked toward Helen. So what do you want? Want to fight? Helen's face went green. What had she done to deserve this? Someone who threw hands at the drop of a hat. My gaze swept over the Whitmores. Their anger was still there, but no one dared speak again. I snorted. If that's all, I'm going back to my room. Ethan Hayes, Richard called after me. Did you see what happened on X? I nodded. When I stayed silent, Richard had to continue. This started because of you, and it's hurting the company badly. You need to help the company and Victoria out of this crisis. Richard was furious, actually, but because of other concerns, he forced his emotions down. What does this have to do with me? The ones who started it were your good son Ryan and your good daughter Victoria, weren't they? They started everything. I only fought back. Oh, and about those 2 properties. Ryan, remember to transfer them to me. Richard said helplessly, you're the only one who can solve this now. If he had another way, he would not have waited until now. I knew the Whitmores were shameless, and shameless with full confidence. I said lightly, this is how you ask for help? Ava could not stand it anymore. Ethan Hayes, you're part of this family too. You should help. Do you know how badly today's mess hurt the company? Ethan, you don't want the Whitmore group to suffer, right? We're family. Helping the family is only right. Besides, this really does involve you. Ryan chimed in from the side, and the others followed. Ethan, today was Victoria's fault. Please be the bigger person and help the family through this. Though full of hatred, Victoria had to lower her head. Ethan, we're family. The company's loss is our family's loss. I know what you can do. As long as you step in, our company won't just recover, can rise even higher. Hearing that, I finally understood. Of course, they wanted Astorwell's help. With Astorwell helping, even the worst crisis could be survived. The Whitmores impressed me all over again. Their shamelessness was on another level. I laughed, then sneered, I can't help with the company. But about the properties, Ryan, you will give them to me. Otherwise, every time I see you, I'll beat you. Hearing my refusal, Richard got mad too. Ethan Hayes, you won't even help with this tiny thing? His tone was no longer as kind as before. Nearly 2 months of sucking up still hadn't gotten him a link to Astorwell. Richard's patience was wearing out. Forget that the Whitmore group is in crisis. A tiny thing? What do you think Astorwell is? Some place you can just latch onto? Are you even worthy? Richard clenched his fists. My words clearly cut deep. Before, he never would have dared dream of it. But if a country boy like me could get in with Astorwell, why couldn't the Whitmores? The words reached his throat. Then he swallowed them. He forced down his anger, and his tone softened again. He said earnestly, Ethan, I know Astorwell isn't easy, but this concerns our company. If you can't get us that connection, I hope you'll help the company through this crisis. You're part of this family too. I didn't argue. I mainly wanted to see how shameless the Whitmores could get. Besides, giving them hope before crushing it sounded fun. Seeing I didn't argue, Richard tested the waters. Ethan, just clarify online that today was staged. Then appear with Victoria to explain it. Show people there's no bad blood between you two. I didn't answer. My eyes landed on Victoria. My tone was cold. Victoria, is that what you want? Do we need to fake a loving sibling act? You're making me sick. Victoria's face flushed. If she could, she wouldn't fake anything with me. But this was the only option left. She opened her mouth to speak, but I cut in. I won't play along. The truth is the truth. Blame your Whitmore upbringing for raising trash like her. How you fix this is your problem. It has nothing to do with me. I was dead set on destroying Victoria. My repeated defiance made Richard furious. He slammed the table and stood up. He was about to lecture me, but I spoke first. Disown me. Otherwise, no deal. That one line shut Richard down. Disown me? With the Sterling family behind me, how could he give that up? Now Richard was trapped. He couldn't get along with me or make me obey, but he couldn't give up the Sterlings either. Seeing me this stubborn, Ryan was thrilled. He quickly stepped in to score points, looking heartbroken. Ethan, we're still family. This is clearly easy for you. Why won't you help us? Do you know what happened today? Hurt the company and could ruin Victoria? Victoria felt much better. Ryan felt like her real brother. Ryan watched the Whitmore's faces. He hurried to me and begged, Ethan, what will it take for you to help Victoria and the family? If you'll say yes, I'll kneel and beg. With that, he dropped to his knees. He moved so fast the others couldn't react. Seeing Ryan go this far for the Whitmores, the family felt guilty. Since I came back, they knew Ryan had suffered a lot. They hadn't expected him to do this much for the family now. I had to admit, Ryan really went all in. I almost admired him. With that Neil, if I agreed to help, the Whitmores would thank Ryan for convincing me. If I refused, with Ryan as the contrast, their affection for him would shoot up. How could I let him win? I gripped his chin. I can help, but I have conditions. Ryan said sincerely, as long as you help, I'll agree to anything. Leave the Whitmores, leave Fairview, and never come back. Ryan clearly hadn't expected that demand. His expression froze. If the family weren't there, he would have cursed me out. I gave him no time to think. What, you won't? Didn't you say you'd do anything for the Whitmores? Ethan Hayes, if you won't help, fine. How can you force Ryan like this? Victoria shouted in rage. I knew you always hated Ryan. How can you be this shameless and make such an outrageous demand? Ryan said nothing. Tears just kept falling. Victoria's heart ached. She went over and helped Ryan up. Ethan Hayes, as long as I'm here, you won't bully Ryan. Helen glared at me. Ethan Hayes, you've gone too far. That demand is insane. Ava also feared her father might agree, so she urged, Dad, you can't listen to Ethan Hayes. This whole thing started because of him. Helping his own family through trouble is what he should do. Richard would never agree to that demand. The benefits behind me were tempting, but still uncertain. But Ryan and Brooke's relationship was a sure thing. They were lovers, childhood sweethearts, and stable. He couldn't give up the tie to the Lawsons for something unknown. Besides, these 2 months had shown Richard I was hard to control. What a shame. I stood up. I was going to help. Since you won't agree, forget it. With that, I headed upstairs. After 2 steps, I stopped again. I smiled. Oh right. Did none of you really watch the video online? The angle makes it obvious whose seat filmed it. Can't you tell? How boring. If they couldn't figure it out, I'd have to leak it myself. Victoria and the others immediately pulled out their phones and opened today's video. They'd been so focused on making me help with PR, they forgot this key point. Victoria, Ryan, and Ava saw at once it was from my seat. Their faces filled with disbelief. Victoria stared at me in shock and said in disbelief, Ethan Hayes, stop right there. Why did you set me up? Victoria rushed up and blocked my path. Her face twisted. You bastard. You set me up. Her voice jumped several notes. I backhanded her. A foul-mouthed woman deserves a slap. I said coldly, Victoria, if you were clean, how could I have caught you? People like you shouldn't be ruining students. I did a good thing. Also, separate issue. Remember to transfer the properties to me. Victoria's face turned ugly. Her name was ruined and she lost 2 properties. How could she accept that? She laughed in rage. The properties? You still want them? Dream on. Ryan relaxed too. If Victoria refused, he would refuse too. That was exactly what I was waiting for. I grabbed her by the throat and lifted her off the floor with ease. Victoria hadn't expected me to strike so fast. She was shocked and furious. She thrashed hard but couldn't break free. Fear flashed in her eyes. Ethan Hayes, let go. Helen rushed over first. But when she met my icy stare, she stopped dead. Meanwhile, Richard's phone rang. His expression went from joy to fear. After he hung up, Richard felt conflicted. The call was from Astorwell. Astorwell warned him that if Victoria upset me, the entire Whitmore family would be erased. He did not doubt Astorwell's power. He hadn't expected Astorwell to go this far for me. He sighed and said, heart-aching, Ethan, about the properties, I'll have Victoria and the others transfer them to you. A bet is a bet. I dropped Victoria on the floor, dusted my hands, and went back to my room. Olivia didn't know how to describe what she felt. The benefits behind me were huge, yet she couldn't get them. That hurt her deeply. She'd wanted to get close to me, but things only got worse. Olivia had nowhere to vent her anger. Seeing Victoria half dead only made her angrier. She strode up and kicked her. She honestly wanted to kill Victoria. She had warned them again and again not to offend me. But these idiots wouldn't listen, and things got even worse. Now it had hurt the company too. How could she not be mad? No one else in the Whitmore family dared step in. Meanwhile, the Prescotts, the Hales, and the Lawsons all got calls from Astorwell. They were all warned to behave and transfer the properties to me. Those who planned to default no longer dared try anything. Chloe told me all of this. She never hid things from me. This was a chance to score points. Honestly, even if Chloe hadn't done it, I had ways to get those properties. Still, I was happy. After the chat ended, I opened X to see where things stood. It was all hate for the Whitmores. After a thought, I logged into Dr. Alpha's X account. The latest problem already had an answer thanks to the school video. So I decided to post a new problem for everyone to solve. Out of habit, I checked the DMs. Aside from messages telling me to watch the school video, I immediately spotted a DM from Victoria. Victoria wanted me to provide an extremely hard problem. She said she wanted to hold an academic seminar and use it for discussion. After a thought, I knew what Victoria was planning. She wanted a comeback. Since she lacked skill, she wanted help from Dr. Alpha. But Victoria would never dream that Dr. Alpha was me. Now this was fun. Of course I'd give her what she wanted. I immediately wrote a problem and included the solution. But I rigged it. The problem was invalid. I changed one tiny detail. With Victoria's skill, she'd never spot it. No matter how Victoria planned to make a comeback, she would only humiliate herself again. I'd make sure she never recovered. Seeing the reply on her computer, Victoria was thrilled. She was at the end of her rope. Messaging Dr. Alpha had only been a shot in the dark. Even more surprising, Dr. Alpha sent the solution too. She sprang up, eager to tell me about the challenge. She wanted me to fix the Whitmore crisis and use the chance to drag me through the mud. She wanted to show me there was always someone better. I hadn't expected Victoria to be this impatient. I thought she'd at least study the problem before coming to me. I leaned against the doorframe and looked Victoria up and down. My stare made Victoria uncomfortable. She spoke at once. "Ethan Hayes, I want to bet against you again. Do you dare?" Her voice wasn't loud, but it was full of confidence. I was already looking forward to her face tomorrow when she learned I was Dr. Alpha. I didn't answer right away, and Victoria thought I was scared. She sneered. "What, scared? If you admit defeat." I snorted. "Competing with a loser like you would only hurt my reputation." My words were so harsh that Victoria felt deeply humiliated. She had never suffered such humiliation, and she couldn't beat me in a fight. So she swallowed her anger and tried to control her temper. "Ethan Hayes, if I lose, I'll leave the school forever. I'll never teach again." "Victoria, after what happened yesterday, do you really think you can still be a teacher?" I found it funny. "Victoria, you really have zero self-awareness." Victoria clenched her fists and took a few deep breaths before speaking. "Ethan Hayes, if I lose, I'll admit online under my real name that I'm trash. But if you lose, you must admit online under your real name that you're trash. And you must help the Whitmores through this crisis. Do you dare?" Now I was interested. Victoria had always been my first target. If she wanted to court death, why wouldn't I oblige? I agreed readily. "Fine. Tomorrow afternoon. I'll wait for you at school. Bet however you want." "Tomorrow morning," Victoria said, already impatient. She couldn't wait to see me ruined. I rolled my eyes at her. "Tomorrow morning you need to go with Ryan and the others and transfer the properties to me. Before this bet starts, you need to honor the last one first." "Afraid I'll back out?" Victoria finally gave in. Back in her room, she started thinking how to deal with me tomorrow. She needed respected witnesses. Then she thought of the esteemed physicist Professor Leonard Grant. His presence would carry weight. At that, she grabbed her phone and opened Professor Grant's chat. After some pleasantries, she sent him Dr. Alpha's problem. "Professor Grant, I'd like to invite you to our school tomorrow to watch genius student Ethan Hayes solve a problem." Victoria was confident. A Dr. Alpha problem had to be top tier. What expert wouldn't get fired up by a hard problem? And with my genius student title, wouldn't Professor Grant want to meet me? Sure enough, Professor Grant replied instantly. He agreed to come tomorrow afternoon. Victoria was thrilled. Tomorrow she would finally crush me. Meanwhile, Professor Grant immediately sent me screenshots of his chat with Victoria. Then he said humbly, "Dr. Alpha, I get to see you again tomorrow." I rubbed my aching brow, closed the chat, and didn't reply. How did Victoria even find Professor Grant? What a nightmare. Every time I ran into Professor Grant, he grilled me with endless questions. I really regretted giving him pointers back then. My phone pinged a few more times. I was done. I picked it up and texted back. "Take it easy tomorrow. Control yourself. If you blow my cover early, we're done." "Got it, Dr. Alpha." The next morning, I came downstairs to the Whitmores looking miserable. I couldn't help humming a little tune. After sitting down, I said sincerely, "What a great day." I was really disgusting them every second. Victoria wanted to flip the table and leave. But fearing Asterwell's warning, she could only hold it in. I didn't let up all morning. I asked about the company, then about Ryan and the others' properties. Either way, I was twisting the knife. The Whitmores looked painfully constipated. They clearly wanted to cover my mouth. Once I was full, I grabbed a napkin and wiped my mouth. Then I tossed it at Victoria's face. "See you this afternoon, scrub. Don't chicken out." Victoria went livid. She wanted to hurl her bowl at me, but thinking of the afternoon made her feel much better. She planned to live stream it, so people could see what kind of idiot their genius student really was. The morning passed quickly. Ryan and the others were extra obedient today and didn't start anything. After the lawyer texted that everything was done, I made a point to thank each of them. Really, I was twisting the knife. Ryan and the others didn't dare get mad. They smiled through the pain and said no problem. As for my match with Victoria, with Chloe's approval, the principal notified the whole school. That afternoon classes were cancelled so everyone could witness the match and learn from Professor Grant. Everyone was waiting for the match. Soon afternoon came. Seeing such a huge setup, Victoria felt a guilty flash. Then she remembered the problem came from Dr. Alpha. Her confidence came right back. The principal announced the rules. Ms. Whitmore would present the problem and Ethan Hayes would solve it. Then the match officially began. Victoria confidently wrote the problem she'd memorized last night. Then she stepped aside for me to solve it. I didn't move. I stayed in my seat. She picked up the mic to speak. Victoria urged me impatiently, "Ethan Hayes, the problem is ready. Come solve it." I ignored Victoria and asked, "Ms. Whitmore, did you create this problem yourself?" Victoria's heart skipped. Did I notice something? She had planned to say she wrote it herself. But seeing this huge setup, she feared trouble later if she claimed it was hers. After thinking it over, she changed her plan. She openly admitted she'd seen it elsewhere, not created it. I said meaningfully, "Since it isn't your own problem, why don't we solve it together like yesterday?" "Sure," Victoria said calmly. She'd memorized the solution long ago. Only then did I walk to the board and stand beside her. Before we started, I checked with Victoria again. "Ms. Whitmore, want to check if the problem is complete? Since it isn't yours, I'm worried you copied it wrong." "Impossible. I didn't copy it wrong." Victoria denied it at once. Was he kidding? "I know this problem backward and forward. Okay? Then let's begin." The principal set a movable board between us to block our view of each other. "Begin." Victoria couldn't wait to write down her solution. On my side, I held the chalk but still didn't write. I made a show of thinking. Seeing this, Ava and the others could barely contain their glee. If they won this match, they could strip away my genius title and knock me down a peg and make me help the Whitmore Group survive this crisis. Yesterday's mess hit the Whitmore Group hard. The company tried PR, but it barely worked. Ryan felt a little disappointed. If I lost, Victoria and I would never make peace. The company crisis would stay unsolved, and I'd be the Whitmore's villain forever. Then the whole family would hate me. Who knew I'd flop this hard? The students below started whispering. "Ms. Whitmore's almost done. Ethan Hayes hasn't even started." So that genius title was all hype? The teachers, though, stayed quiet. They were all working on it. Honestly, they couldn't solve it. So they didn't think Ms. Whitmore beating me was impressive. Victoria put down her chalk. A teacher stepped up and moved the board between us. Seeing I hadn't written a single word, Victoria almost laughed out loud. Dr. Alpha's problem lived up to the hype, just as expected. She took a deep breath, held down her excitement, and spoke sweetly. "Ethan Hayes, if you don't know it, put the chalk down. Don't force it. You're a student. Losing isn't a big deal. I'll walk you through it later." Hearing that, I calmly set the chalk down and said pointedly, "Ms. Whitmore, writing something down doesn't mean it's right. And not writing doesn't mean I lost.